What is up? I'm here in Buffalo, chilling and putting a video together. Yesterday, my podcast with the Mind Pump guys came out. Really fucking awesome and a great response from you guys. Thanks so much for enjoying. So I wanted to air the video version of that. I've got it and I wanted to share it. Put it on the YouTube, a little longer format. It's like almost 2 hours, so I don't know who wants to watch it that way, but fucking enjoy, right? And let me know what you guys think. So maybe I'll do some more video type stuff for the podcast to do in the future, but let me see what you guys think of this one. This one's an excellent one, and they've got a far better technology set up than me with cameras and sling boxes and shifting cameras, and they're professionals. I'm a clown. I'm gonna sit here and drink hotel coffee in sadness. All right, let's get to the podcast.
Our favorite topics is the decline of the modern male. Yeah. We talked about how and there's studies to show this where
dude, this is a legit problem that the medical community is studying, that the testosterone levels of males have been declining for decades now.
Well, let's just be clear, males living in first world countries, because if you start going to tribal stuff like that where they're still living a long time, that's not a decline.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Because they're still fucking working, they still hunt, they still do all these other things.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
Right, so it's us, and part of it's due to diet, and it's part of that we don't have threats, we don't have, there is no fight anymore to being top of the mountain.
And it could be diet, it could be
I don't think it's one thing. I don't think it's one thing. I think it's a multi.
It could be chemicals. There's there's a lot of xenoestrogens that are out there, but you make a good point, and I actually mentioned this a little while ago that male testosterone levels are not consistent, and what I mean by that is they go up and down throughout the day.
Yep. And
depending on the situation, a man's testosterone will go up or down. So, for example, if all of us,
dick.
Yeah. Say what?
Like his dick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If all of us are on a team right now and we competed in something and we won, we would see a spike in testosterone.
This is simply the opposite of women getting together and syncing up. Right?
Maybe.
Then bear attacks, they're attracted to menstruation. Everyone knows that. You don't need a bunch of gals hanging out in the forest together. It's a fucking bad move.
The scent.
We are live.
Yes. Not really. We're recorded.
Yeah. Right.
Well, we're kind of live.
Call in.
Yeah, kind of live. It's like half so.
We're live-ish.
Yeah. No one's calling.
No.
Dude, I'm so glad to have you down here,
Dude, it's pumped, man. I'm stoked to come chat with you guys. Yesterday was really, really fun, man. It's fun, like, having that conversation style thing, and it's talking to new, interesting people that are doing different shit than I am. But it's all relatively the same world, and so it's just fun, man. I just want to have more cool conversations.
Before you came down here, did you think like Sal was a douche, and then you're like, oh, he's totally not?
You want to know the truth? Is like, so there was a period of time when I was starting to get invited to be on podcasts and stuff like that. That like before I went, I'd do some research and like see what these people are about and see what the vibe of their show is and kind of feel like that. And then the further I've got into it, like if I'm invited to do something and I don't know anything about it, I'm more stoked for that.
Right.
Because then it's genuine. Like I can go in and if the vibe fits, it fits.
I think there's an interesting strategy to that.
Right.
If you feel comfortable with yourself and you can have conversation like you can, obviously, then I think it actually is better because these guys get to see the types of questions you would ask. If you literally, I mean, they're getting to listen in on a conversation that we've only spent a few minutes talking to each other before.
We're just figuring each other out.
Right.
Right.
And they get to be a part of that.
You make a good point because it's now happened countless times to me where I have a preconceived notion of someone that we're about to interview or meet for the show, and it's wrong. Either I think they're going to be great, and then I meet them, I'm like, oh, I don't like that person, or the opposite where I think, okay, we're going to interview this individual. I think they're kind of a douche, but whatever. And by the end of it, I'm like, man, I really like them.
Yeah.
So I think I like your approach. Just go and just.
Yeah, I mean, look, with that said, with my podcast and I'm sure with y'all's, I feel like the research needs to be done on my end. You know what I mean? Like if it's not a good fit and I know this is going to be a bad fit, like I don't need to fucking talk to you.
Sure.
What's the fucking point of that? I'm not interested in having a podcast where I'm outing someone that I think was a dipshit. Right. Like we could just not talk to him. There's enough negative bullshit out there from people that I'm not interested in contributing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to run a conspiracy theory out people show that like, I'll show you these guys aren't the real deal.
Yeah.
Like,
Here's
nah,
what
man.
really happens.
I choose to decline the offer.
Now that we're live, you said you deadlifted 600 pounds. Let's see it right now on the
right
show.
now.
Fake
Prove
weights,
it.
hashtag.
Prove it, Castleberry. Show me that. 700
What do you think? You think he's really lifting fake weights?
Yes, absolutely.
No
100%,
hesitation.
100% I do.
You know what sucks
We
about
talked
that?
about that
You know what
once.
sucks about that whole situation? He's a legit, strong.
Of course he is. I
Awesome
believe.
dude.
I believe he
Strong.
probably benches 5.5.
Right.
Which is fucking huge.
It's no need to lie, dude.
No, the problem is now he's created some fucking world where he's a cartoon character, and he can't ever go back the other
He
direction.
dug himself a hole.
Well done.
I know.
Longevity, you say?
It sucks because he's impressive anyway. I've seen videos of him doing a kickflip on a skateboard, jumping like a freaking gazelle, doing all these crazy things. I was like,
Sprinting on a treadmill like 24 miles an hour.
yeah, there's
like,
no need for you to add another 200 pounds to your lifts because you're already a badass. There's no need.
Right. But then he's decided that he's also a guy that, as far as depth is concerned, and like how much more do I want to actually know about the dude, he's a guy at Fit Expos that's gonna stand around without his fucking shirt on.
Yeah, he's that guy.
Ugh.
How do you like Fit Expos?
Like super
by the way?
approachable.
You like those? You've been to the Olympia. You've obviously been to the Olympia, the Arnold.
Arnold, we have a booth. We've had a booth the last couple years, and you know, it's really positive. I find it a really positive thing. With that said, being on that side of the table, and you know, with the background in sales and do that, like I get the gig. I know what I'm doing there. And so I'm shaking hands and taking pictures and being personable and talking to people. The weird spot are the people that meet you at those things and don't understand that this is relatively a single serving interaction.
we're not going to be best friends.
Do you know what I mean? Like, well, not even that, but like, dude, don't fucking hang out at the booth for 3 hours. I am working.
Beat it.
Yeah.
Like, make no mistake that we had an interaction, but my job today was interact with a lot of people.
Right.
I find that so strange. Like we'll meet as Mind Pump started to grow, we would run into fans, and we're extremely appreciative of the people that listen to our show, support us. I mean, that's what we do. And you'll meet these people at these fitness conventions or sometimes on the street, and they'll shake your hand, and then you'll talk with them for a second, and then there's that awkward like,
I'm gonna go now.
yeah, do I
well,
just?
I'm gonna keep
I'm on my way to
walking,
do a thing.
But yeah.
Yeah,
I wasn't just hanging out here.
What do I say? That okay, we're done. See you later.
You almost you just
Big
have to
gulps, huh?
shake their hand. You know what I'll end up doing is I've done both ways where I'm just like, all right, man, I got some things to do, or get really close to them. Like
Start close-
interact with them long
like
enough that
Seinfeld, like
they're
start
the one
close
that
and
wants to
real
leave.
talk.
Start tilting your head like,
Yeah. Just keep getting closer. Space invader.
Get weirder.
or you could do the old move, the snap. I'm out of here.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Well,
You do that
someone-
one, the double point snap.
Some
It's
of these
a good look.
Some
If
of
you
these
go
kids,
over,
Hey,
it's an over the shoulder.
Good
to
talking
get out
to you.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
some of these kids, I think, just you know, and what I try and remember is that this could be potentially some kid that I'd said something, he totally connected to my story, and I've changed his life, and so. And for them, maybe it's like, oh my God, like this is somebody who has totally inspired me, and which is hard was hard at first for me because I didn't feel like our message. We're definitely not the motivational podcast. Like I'm not out there trying to motivate people, but
you can do it, okay?
But you
do. Can do it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
no,
You have to believe when you're listening to this.
Right.
That's step one.
right.
Step 3 is profit.
right,
Yeah. Right. 100%.
It's true though.
Yeah, it is. It's
No, look, I can't think of anything that I would find more fucking offensive and hurt me than if I had an interaction with someone like at an expo and they, came up and talked to me and blah, blah, blah. And then later like sent me a message or something that was like, yo, man, I followed your videos for the last 4 years and I've commented and we've interacted a little bit like that. And then I met you at an expo and you were a dipshit.
You were a dick.
And like,
That would hurt.
it fucking would bum me out to no end.
Yeah.
Well, especially a guy like you, because I think you pride yourself on being true to who you are, right? Like I
Well,
feel.
right, but that's why the four of us have enjoyed talking to each other, right? Is because there's not a front, there's not any posturing. It's four guys fucking talking about whatever.
Right.
when we started this, we talked about this. We wanted to create just a group or a syndicate or whatever you want to call it of like-minded, cool people who could really help each
The
other,
Justice
propel
League.
their businesses, propel each other personally, and have an influence, a positive influence on the fitness industry. So when we meet people like you, it's like, hey man, you're cool. We're going to keep doing this. And
Hell yeah.
And then there's been people we've met where they've got these huge followings. And
Sorry,
whatever.
I lost your number.
Totally. Totally,
Yeah.
absolutely. But it's hard to find really good people, but when you do, you got to hold on to them. One thing I'll say since we started podcasting is I've met more awesome people in a short period of time than I met in my entire life. I mean, I've met so many incredible, smart individuals, self kind of made and motivated individuals, and people who are just very, very interesting. It's really, really cool job to have.
Well, we're not. Neither one of us are doing a podcast or making videos or traveling to meet people that. I mean, there's not a lot of that over self-entitled person, right? That like, no one in our industry essentially just had the fucking keys handed over to you. Like we all
Good
worked
point.
for it, and that's part of the gym. Like you can't fake getting stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unless you have fake plates, because those are cheap and you
formula.
can order them.
How does he get them to make them look just like that, man?
They sell them. You can Google them, and they'll fucking
really
they're cheap. Yeah,
like 24-hour fitness fake plates.
fake plates.
Now he goes over to the bar and he spins all the weights to show you how real they are.
That proves it. Thanks. Fucking Christ. Look, until that guy does a powerlifting meet,
Right.
nah.
Right.
You know, even then, and I mean that was I got the pleasure of watching Kaylor Woolham pull 928 at 218 at Burdick's meet a few weeks
that's
ago.
why I don't want to do it anymore.
Fucking ridiculous.
I'm over
right?
it.
Like,
Look, man, I'm doing a meet at March
I
in
PR'd,
January,
like, nobody cares.
and I'm hoping my bench and deadlift are more than what he deadlifted.
That's
You know, like at 240. And so, like, roll the dice on it. And and so, you know, it's guys like that like he's fucking legit, but he's even concerned because the other guy deadlifting right now that's big time is this Yuri Belkin. Yuri's this Russian guy pulling in the same range, pulled 940 or something like that at sub 220.
God, that's crazy.
And Kaylor's like, man, I was really hoping to get 950 today, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look, man, until you're on the platform with that dude, it doesn't matter. Do better than you did before. And then when y'all share a platform, let them have it.
Right.
Because is there a chance that some of Yuri's lifts aren't legit? Maybe. Russia's been known to do some weird things. But I know Kaylor's was. I mean, even if it's 10% that Yuri's isn't, I know Kaylor's was legit.
Yeah.
I was there. I saw it. And until you guys are on the same platform and get to go head to head, it doesn't matter.
Are they trying to make that happen?
I don't know. Who knows what powerlifting does? There's 900 federations. It's very confusing.
What is with that?
It's
like the WWF.
Dude, it's
no,
just
it's more. It's what do you mean? There's only one WWF.
Well, I mean, you mean wrestling. Like
Well,
wrestling is the same way too. There's
Yeah.
always different federations.
Well, it got really
with all kinds of different belts.
It
Like
got-
in the WWF, there's like 12 belts.
Oh, there's
There
the
you
fake
go,
plates
fake
right there.
plates.
Order me some, Doug.
oh wow,
I'm gonna do some curls with
You guys could
315.
smush.
we're gonna look awesome.
It's
real soon.
It's for a second there. It got really crazy with the equipped lifts.
Well, it did, and then
The
that
shirts
died.
and thankfully.
Yeah, I did that for 2 years.
How
competed-
crazy is that? How much of a does it add to your lift when you've got?
Depends on the lift, right? It doesn't add a ton to the deadlift unless you're really good at sumo. If you can get in that position so that your squat suit is going to
Stretched
benefit
out
you,
and it just slingshot you up.
because the problem is you don't have enough like actual power to get into the position without weight on you.
It's that tight.
Oh yeah,
the
man.
bench shirt for sure.
So
No, I'm talking about deadlifting. Like
yeah,
even that.
just
so
to get
bench
into
shirt's huge.
Yeah.
It's a fucking huge deal. For me, I was a 4 1/4 bencher and bench 7 in a shirt.
Whoa!
What?
Yeah,
7.
yeah.
That much of a difference?
Well, I'm
That's
also
amazing.
I've got a big arch. At the time, I could really get my belly out,
Still,
and I'm
though.
benching really low.
Still, though.
There's a technique to it.
Of course, but I'm still fucking handling 700 pounds in my hands, which does weird stuff like you get shin splints in your forearms.
You feel your bones bending.
Yeah, it's really lame. And yeah, I also hit a 115 pound PR that day that I benched 7. It's just strange.
I want to get a bench shirt just so I can be like, yeah, I benched 500.
It's weird. It's a weird move, man. It's a different lift. If they were called something other than bench and squat, like I'd feel better about it. But they're their own thing. Now, like squatting in a suit, I did 1,000, and like my best raw squat's probably right about 700. And so, like,
Still insane.
sure, but the biggest difference between the squat or the bench versus doing it raw, and the thing that I'm glad I spent time doing it and I learned was, like, if you're a 600-pound squatter and that's your max, like, you can unrack that and you're going to step back with it and you fucking own that weight. Like, you're comfortable until it's bad, at the part of the lift that's trouble. If you're in gear and canvas and knee wraps and briefs, that entire lift is max effort. Unracking it, this is the most weight that you're going to fucking unrack.
Oh, I see.
This is the most weight that you can handle and fight for position for so that the suit works and you don't die. Like,
is this why it makes more of a difference with depending on whether or not you have to walk the weight out versus?
Yeah, of course.
Because it's
nobody's doing heavy gear walked out.
Fuck, you ain't gonna
that's
move.
a bad move.
You'll break something.
Yeah, yeah. You're just not single leg supporting 1,100 pounds with knee wraps on. Like with good knee wraps, like you don't bend your legs. No, you're fucking stiff legging it to the monolift like you got to take a shit. You know?
I remember the first time I've never worn a suit. I've only ever belt and knee wraps, but knee wraps for me, man, would add like a good 30 pounds. Just knee wraps.
Easy. Yeah, easy, 100%. I've gotten like Mark Bell's original slingshot, like the actual slingshot, I could get 100 pounds out of.
Wow.
Yeah, I could bench 405, and then I could bench 405 for 10 with it on.
That's crazy.
You know, but it's just a different animal, you know. And I mean, with that said, while I was doing heavy geared lifting, that's also the strongest I ever was. So, I mean, is it because of the overload work? Is it because of these other things?
You're handling such a heavy weight. You're getting used to that
getting
feeling.
adapted to the feel of that heavy weight.
I know for me, the most I've ever deadlifted is 900. No, I'm just kidding. 600 pounds. That's the most I've ever. He laughs right away.
Nice.
600 is the most I've ever pulled.
I don't believe you.
But what I did that helped me to get to 600 was using a trap bar, because with the trap bar, I could lift, for me, it was about 40, 60 pounds heavier on the trap bar than with the straight bar. Now, the carryover wasn't really that much, but the reason why it helped me so much really was just being able to hold and handle, that much weight in my hands. And I recognized that right away.
Yeah. 100%, right? You know, that overload, that being able to work more stuff. And I mean, and treating trap bar as an accessory for regular deadlifts is fantastic. Right. You know, doing the heavy geared stuff, the one thing I always felt about it, right? Like I always felt doing raw that like if I was going to lift, I'm training. Like I'm trying to get stronger. I need to put in these reps. I need to do that like sets of 3, sets of 5. The training sessions that I had in heavy gear, I always felt as practice.
Oh, I see.
Like I'm practicing the gear.
The technique.
Yeah. Because if you bail out of the suit, like you're in positions that don't make sense without the suit.
That's why this to be so dangerous.
Yeah, it's not a regular squat, which is why guys squat fucking 7 inches high now.
No, and if you think about it, because I've thought about this quite a bit. Like I said, I've never worn equipment like that before, but you got to imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, the positioning's got to be perfect. The technique is perfect. So if you move a half an inch out of that position, half that strength of that suit is gone.
Oh, yeah, and it'll smash you to the floor and then you die.
Oh, yeah. You ever think of that?
No.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if you're out of position, that's where guys,
gnarly.
Your knee caves in or any of this other type of shit.
Man.
Risk versus reward, it wasn't there for me anymore.
You know, one of the crazy things behind for me when I think about strength sports, which I love, I absolutely love strength sports. I'm a huge fan of strength. I've always enjoyed watching it. I enjoy lifting weights. It's just something I've always admired. But what's funny is as I've gotten older and studied and learned about human physiology and evolution, you know, when it comes to physical feats, humans are pretty much, we're like the pussies of the animal kingdom.
100%.
We're not good at shit.
No, the only thing we've got is the brain.
No, there is one physical.
It's too hot.
There is one physical feat that humans have that's actually quite exceptional in comparison to other animals. Everything else, animals kick our ass in, and everything except for one. And believe it or not, it's actually endurance.
Endurance running, yeah.
Not just trekking. In fact, anthropologists now think that one of the main ways we hunted was we would just
outlast them.
We would just, until they got tired. We would just out-trek them. And if you look at human physiology, the size of our knees, the structure of our foot and ankle, which acts as like a shock absorber, the size of our glutes, we're really designed to just go for long, and the fact that we walk on two legs, there's lots of reason for that, but one of them is it just minimized how much sun exposure we got, because we would be in the sun just out trekking animals forever. So when you think of strength, like we're not strong at all compared to other animals.
No, it's terrible. Look, hippos out sprint us.
Yeah,
that's a 3,500 pound animal that outruns us.
You didn't know that?
No.
Like on land, yeah, they're monsters. They're terrifying animals.
You know,
I mean, it makes sense. I mean,
a hippos kill more
scary as hell.
people than lions.
Oh, yeah, more. I think it's the number one killer.
It's the number one. Yeah.
Other than people.
Yeah, that's true.
People are super fucking good at killing other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
You
like
got
what
that
you're
down.
saying, there's a video I'd watched not too long ago on persistence hunting is what it's called. And there's still tribes that actually operate this way. And so the way they do is they'll actually track and like pick a group, like an antelope or something like that, or whatever it is, this, four-legged deer type creature they're hunting, and they'll run it and separate the one they want from the group over time and run it until it fucking dies, until its will breaks and it lays down and dies. And the advantage is we're bipedal. We have hands, which means I can carry water. I also sweat. I can be outside for a really long time and feed myself and do these things and cool my body by wearing clothes. Whereas animals don't operate that way. So they'll run it into the earth.
Yeah.
How funny is that?
Fucking crazy.
But strength sports is what I enjoy watching.
Now, same.
Yeah.
It's just fun, man.
There's nothing that would make me more
about watching
We're
that.
trying to be gorillas.
No, there's nothing that would bum me out more than being like, oh, this year's world's strongest man's drug tested. Like, why?
It's a horrible idea.
I'm not trying to watch world's most average dude. Fuck fun is that? I want to see monsters and freaks, man. That's what it's about.
So what do you think about like
Absolutely.
sports, like baseball and football and some of that? Are you pro? Like we've talked about this a little bit too. Like, because people speculate all the time, like, oh, it should be all fair and no one does. But man, would sports really slow down? Do you guys really know what it would look like? It would probably look like the 50s.
All right. So as a guy that like with the Highland Games being drug tested for the time that I competed and being drug tested a lot.
Was it?
Oh yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, we got drug tested like probably 6 or 8 times a year.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so got drug tested the whole time I competed and was never on gear.
So you competed completely. I know you said that.
Clean, yeah.
Wow.
Like until I started having knee surgery and I retired, I hadn't gone on HRT.
Wow, good deal.
And so, but the way I felt about it, I don't have any moral issue to it, fucking at all. But this sport existed before I showed up, and these were the rules. So who the fuck am I to not play by the rules? I could choose to not be part of the sport. Mm-hmm. And so, powerlifting or any of that stuff, right? Like, I think that's the only good thing back to where we were talking about, like all the federations and all the garbage is, I mean, there's an avenue to compete in powerlifting, however it is you'd like to compete. You want to compete in knee sleeves and drug tested? Cool, we got a sport for you.
Right.
And you don't have to compete against a guy in a squat suit that's essentially in an arms race.
Right.
So football, baseball, basketball, drugs, the problem that people have watching that is they think drugs are the difference between them and those people.
Yeah.
I remember learning that. I remember learning that wasn't true.
There's an incredible.
I just took roids. I'm
There's
going to
an
be
incredible
Jordan.
TED talk that just dispels that too.
Of course.
Because for many years I thought that. I thought, I just assumed that as a kid growing up, and then you first hear about steroids, and then you.
Oh, it's a silver bullet, man.
Yeah.
This is the difference.
Right.
I'll be fucking shredded. And I'll be great at everything.
And then you're a kid who fucks around and does that, and you try it, and you realize like, oh shit, I didn't turn into Barry Bonds.
I put on 8 pounds of lean body mass. That's it. What the fuck?
And whether it's it's easy to look at bodybuilding or fitness or fatigue, physique stuff, and think that it's simply hard work. But I don't know why people look at those sports any different than say, if me at 35 right now decided that I've got all the time in the world and I've got the money, and so I've got a nutritionist and I've got a coach, and I'm going to dedicate 1,000% and be into this as much as I can be, right? There's no excuse to why I'm not doing the work. I'm not playing in the NBA. I don't have the fucking tools from Jump. Mm-hmm. I need to pick a different hobby.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm better suited to do something else.
Right.
It's it's funny we're talking about this because I did a post, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday, last night, on my Instagram page, and it triggered a few people. And the post was participation trophies for everyone. And I talked about how, and let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I talked about that. So my daughter, she's 8. She just turned 8, and she played soccer. And last night was their soccer party. So it's the end of the season. All the kids get together, and the parents, and they have pizza, and everybody has a good time. And at the end of this, they gave out trophies. Now here's why I had a problem, because my daughter's team sucked.
Right.
They won 0 games. Every game they got blown the fuck away. And my daughter never practices soccer, never wants to practice soccer. She could care less about it. She plays because her friends are on the team, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I would ask her, like, why are you playing? I can tell you don't. She's like, oh, my friends. Okay, it's fine. No problem. But
It's
she
like a
got
social thing
But
for
she
her.
got a fucking medal and a trophy. Why? Because she was there.
Because you guys paid money for her to play soccer.
It's so stupid. So I did this whole post about it, and I'm like, here's the signals that you're sending kids when you give them a trophy for doing nothing or just for showing up. Number one, trophies are worthless.
Yep.
Okay. Number two, that
you don't have to try and you could still win in
nobody's
life.
good, nobody's
You don't
bad.
have to try and you could still win at life.
Yeah.
And that's just not the truth.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, it's okay. It's okay to suck. Like, it's okay for me to know that I'm never going to be Michael Jordan. It's okay for me to know that I'm whatever.
Well, it's important that you know
It should give you more respect for Michael Jordan.
Not only more respect, but the ability to have also acceptance and peace to know those things, because it's not false. I have acceptance and peace that I'm not going to be those things, but I know that if I work hard, I can be the best version of myself. So these lessons that we're teaching kids today with these participants, get the fuck out of here with that.
No, you're
It's
right,
absolutely
man.
ridiculous.
I'm behind you 100%. And one of the ultimate fuck-ups that our generation got taught was that if you work hard, you can do anything you want. And that's just not fucking true. But the difference is that there is no guaranteed pathway to success. There isn't a formula, there isn't a recipe for success. There are fucking recipes for failure. I can guarantee you failure. So avoid that and keep working the other side that is direction towards success, and be able to take advantage of what falls into your lap and what opportunities cross and when you can put down more.
Right.
I mean, we can avoid failure, by doing the right things, but that doesn't necessarily get you success.
And the way I look at it is, and this is actually how I talk to my kids, is I say, look, there's a spectrum. Think of it as as a gauge or whatever. 0 being complete and utter loser, and 100 being the best version of you, your best potential, whatever that is. It's up to you where you land on that. Your work ethic, your consistency, how you apply yourself, that's what determines where you are on that gauge. That gauge is that gauge. So there's a 100% that you can reach, and most people never reach that.
How you do anything is how you do everything.
To think that I'm going to, I can become whatever I want if I just work hard enough, that's not true either.
Nope.
It's like we're so afraid to tell people the truth. Just be honest.
Well, it's along that lines of the spectrum, right, that you can be on either side of it. One of the ways I've thought about that, and getting weird, I guess, for a second, is like the idea of the multiverse, right? And so, like, if there are this infinite different versions of me doing infinite number of things, one of them's super fucking successful.
And one of them's a fucking loser.
So I should really try just to be that guy, because it exists, and so I may as well be that one, right?
That's actually a cool point of view when you think about it.
How fucking cool would it be to meet
the loser version of yourself?
Just
He'd
different.
shank me.
Yeah.
He fucking stab me. He's
Just
probably
different-
really fat.
Just different versions of yourself. You know what I mean?
Strange.
Like, oh shit, there's
Isn't there a Jet Li movie about this where he killed all his versions of himself?
Oh yeah, that was
He became
cool.
the one.
Every time they
Multiplicity. It was
The
Michael
one.
Keaton.
Thank you. Thank you.
It would be cool to meet like billionaire Sal and Playboy Sal and
Nice.
fucking loser stoner Sal.
Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty covers a lot
Oh
of
my
this.
god, my favorite
brilliant
cartoon.
It's the best.
Brilliant
Bro,
show.
I watched that with my son. He's probably a little too young for it.
Yeah.
He's 12.
Well,
But we have a
there's
good
a
time.
spot where he can be too young for it, and it's cool. And then there's a part where like cognitive's kicked in enough that you're like, oh, we probably shouldn't watch this.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
It's actually a really smart
I still haven't
cartoon.
tuned in.
It's
I gotta
great.
watch it.
Oh, it's great. There's my favorite scene of all is like Morty goes to talk to his sister because she's all worked up about something, and he's like, "You see that out there, Summer? That's me. I buried a version of me in the backyard, and every morning I eat breakfast from 30 feet from a rotting version of myself in the ground. So what I'm saying is none of this matters. Just move on with your day.
like
Nothing
super
makes
deep.
sense. Yeah. So let's go watch TV. Like, are you not my brother? No. But I'm different. I'm a version of me that wants to be here. Like, fuck yeah.
You're like, okay.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. But yeah, I think that attitude. It's an important attitude to have. I think it's an important attitude to teach and talk about. And know that you can become the best version of yourself, and don't compare yourself to other people.
Well, that's the hard part, right? Because with kids, it's like you got to learn that process, and that comes later on, like after you do compare yourself to like your peers and everybody else. The growing up process, I feel that's half of it. It's like looking at the person next to you, trying to figure out who you are. You don't really get to figure out who you are until you do the life experience. Right. So
I actually had the conversation. So my daughter comes home with this trophy, right? Because I didn't go with her to the party because we had to do some other stuff. So she comes home with this trophy and this medal. She's got around her, and I see my little girl, and I love her, and I don't want to tell her, hey, listen, take that shit off. It's not worth anything. You know what I mean? Nice. So I didn't say that, but she comes in and
John Wayne would have.
She's got her. She's got her trophy, and I'm like,
burns it in front of her.
I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, why'd you get that trophy? I want to hear what she has to say. And she's like, oh, for playing. I said, oh, that's right. I said, they gave it to you for playing, not for winning, right? And she goes, no, we didn't win many games. So I'm like, okay, the kids know. Well, we're not. I don't know if we're even fooling anybody with these.
Right. So what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah,
like, what is this posturing?
Pageantry. Yeah.
Maybe it's to make the parents feel better.
Get this. It is to make the parents. The parents are got to be the original ones. It wasn't kids that complained about it and cried about it. I'm sure it was parents that were like, my kid didn't get a trophy and he tried so hard.
Yeah.
Guaranteed that's what it is.
Just drive to the store and buy one.
Yeah.
Here's your trophy.
Here's your fucking trophy. Well done.
Yeah.
I just bought myself a wrestling belt because I'm fucking awesome. That's being an adult.
I know a guy that does that.
Hey, I got one of those. I wear it around every once in a while.
Yeah.
Takes selfies with everybody.
Just come home and be like, sweetheart, look what I ordered. Like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, fuck you. You don't know me.
I'm gonna buy myself a medal.
And you suplex
come into the bedroom like holding it up. I'm like, dude, for the champ.
Dude, so I went to work out at the local Golds a little while ago, and I'm working out, and there's this dude in there he's obviously not 100%. Cool guy, but he's obviously not 100%.
You mean
special?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right.
He's walking around, and he's got a gold medal on. Apparently, he always wears the gold medal. So, and he's got
first
this, like,
place, man.
He's got like a sweatband around his head, and he's
even better.
He's like doing his thing. And I'm working out, and he's looking at me, and he's giving me the head nod. And so I'm like, hey,
you're not allowed to say this about Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah.
Zing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I heard, what was the name before Caitlyn Jenner? Wasn't it Bruce Jenner. Yeah, I heard he can't keep his penis off her. Anyway, nice. So I'm working out, and this dude's looking at me, giving me the head nod.
It was almost a dad joke.
I know.
Almost. Yeah,
giving me the head nod, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he walks up to me, he takes his headphones off, and he goes, yeah, man. He goes, you look good except for your calves. And then he walks away. I'm like, you motherfucker.
I love this dude.
Scarred down, son.
Like, you guys are missing
He's got the medal to prove it.
Yeah. You're missing a co-host.
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
Fucking world champ.
Yeah. Apparently, he's famous at that Golds.
Yeah.
You guys
I don't know if
that
defines the word famous.
No, I don't know either.
I feel like we're using it wrong.
Infamous. Infamous.
Yeah, but that's the other side. Earlier, I was talking about, kind of that. We've been lucky that most of the interactions we've had in the industry have been really positive. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's because, look, the truth is none of us are fucking famous.
Right.
I mean, even if you've got a 500,000 Instagram account, you can still go to the store and buy yourself things.
You're going to be okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not The Rock.
I wouldn't want to be famous, though, to be honest with you. I would not like to be famous like The Rock. I really don't.
No.
I really don't like. I've been recognized a few times.
Sure.
Just from our show, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the people, but it's also a very interesting feeling to feel like, because when you're out in public and there's other people around you, you're still by yourself. You still have a certain level of, it's anonymous and it's a little bit of privacy still, right?
Sure.
But now imagine you're in public and everybody knows who you are and they're watching you. I would not want that.
No, it's very, very strange.
Do you feel like the ones that really do like that and want that are the ones that just never really had it growing up or never were popular or kind of by themselves and loners? Because I feel like the more famous the people are that we meet, they seem to be kind of loners.
They're really hungry for it.
Well,
yeah, but those are the people really hungry for fame, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's also people that are famous as an effect of being super fucking
being
good
the
at
awesome
something.
person.
True.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it just comes with the territory. Like, you don't get both. You don't get to have a job that pays you $100 million a year and have fans and not be hassled a little bit.
Right.
It comes with the territory, But yeah, I think your people whose goal is to be famous. Yeah, man, they got some fucking work to do.
Yeah.
They are strange.
I feel like you have a lot of these younger guys and girls making a living off of, telling these other younger guys and girls how to become influencers or how to become famous. Like that's a business now.
Yeah.
Like that's a business. It's literally these guys are. I know some of these guys and girls that are making millions of dollars a year off of teaching others.
Off of hopefuls.
It's very, very strange to me. But that's just that sign. I mean, part of that's that taking advantage of desperation, right? Like you're not teaching people how to fish. It's you're essentially teaching people how to hide the symptoms of something. It's like, well, you're still sick and fat, but like, here's how we can doctor your photos to look better. You know, you're not teaching them anything. And the people that run those courses, your gurus or fucking whatever they are, like, if you're really that good at a thing, there's someone out there willing to pay you a shitload to do it for your business.
Right.
It's always weird when someone's business is making other businesses money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you just do your thing?
I used to always, that's funny when people try and present to you like a, you know, investment guy or what that he looks broke, or the social media person
with 500 followers.
Yes, yeah, 500 followers telling me how I can get more. Let me help you get more followers. I'm like, well, why don't you get yourself some more followers?
What is it you say you do here?
It's like the psychic that doesn't. It's poor.
Right.
You know, not successful.
Or has to ask you what your name
Didn't see
is.
that coming, huh? Did you?
Got her.
Why can't you help yourself?
It's very, very strange.
It's strange, but you know what's interesting? I'm having this thought right now because social media, Instagram, YouTube, all these things are still relatively new. I think it may be a lot harder in the future for just some random person to get on there and then build a large following and all that stuff, because you're probably going to get
so saturated.
Not just saturated, but people are getting better and better at it to the point where, 7 years ago, 5 years ago, if you wanted to get a popular YouTube channel, you could use a regular camera and whatever.
Yeah.
Now you need to know kind of how to edit. It needs to look a certain way, a little bit more professional.
$10 grand in my backpack that I fucking walk around with.
Exactly. Right? Same thing with podcasting. Like podcasts, 5 years ago even, it sounded like people were recording it out of their bathroom, and it just and the quality of that's starting to improve. So I wonder if this whole like Insta famous thing is just kind of a short run. You know what I mean? Like what are they going to do?
What was your transition, Matt? Like, because you're close to our age too. Like, so. We grew up in an era that didn't have that. Like,
of course, right?
And so, what has that been like for you, transitioning from the way we used to work, the way we did business, to now you have built this?
I don't know, man. It's weird. It's weird, right? Because like I essentially started doing YouTube so that I could share throwing footage with the 5 guys that I threw with to get critiques, and then other people are watching it.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
I used it as a way for me to better me. It wasn't ever this like, I'm going to be a star. Hell, none of these even, I didn't say anything on it. They were just literally straight footage of me throwing or doing something like that. And that's why there's 1,100 videos on my YouTube channel. But I mean, the idea of like Insta famous or YouTube as a job is still really weird to me, even though that I'm in that realm.
Right.
It's just, I get really weirded out by the idea that this is what I do for a living. And the only thing that I can say that I'm smart enough to do is that I've had other jobs in the past. I've done a lot of different things for a living. And I don't think this is what I'm going to be doing at 50. I think things are different now. I think the time of spending 30 years in the same profession at the same job doing the same thing doesn't exist.
No, in fact, even with traditional jobs, it's funny because it wasn't that long ago. Really, it wasn't that long ago that if you were a 50-year-old with lots of experience in a particular field, that was a big plus.
Yep.
Today, like if you get into like tech and you show up and you're 50, that actually can hold you back.
Of course.
They'll look at you and be like, I don't know.
Well, we can only hire him for 10 years.
Yeah.
Right.
And not only that, but you're not on the cutting edge.
Well, everything has been outdated.
Social media.
Right.
Yeah, so it's an interesting situation. But on the flip side, all this like podcasting, for example, for us, there would have been no other way. If podcasting didn't exist, what we're doing wouldn't exist, because mainly and specifically because the way we talk about the things that we do and the fact that we're so no holds barred and that we're so raw and honest, there's no way in hell anybody would have sponsored us to do a show, because that's what it required before. It required money, sponsorships. It required going through lots of red tape, and then you got to kiss the right ass and suck the right dick or whatever.
Make sure it's the right dick.
Yeah, exactly. We're so raw especially coming out the gates when we first started. Like, there's no way in hell we would have been able to succeed at what we're doing.
Do you think part of the reason why all of us in this room have been successful doing what we're doing is because we lived before and after the social media? Do you think that we've taken a lot of things that we knew how to build a business before, and then now we've been a part of it and we've adopted it now? Do you think there's an advantage for us?
I do think that there's a certain work ethic that came from doing stuff in the trenches and knowing that no one gave a shit.
I agree.
Right? Not standing on top of the hill yelling, look at me, look at me.
Yeah.
I think there's a certain work ethic that our generation has that's that. But I also don't want to be that guy that be like, those goddamn kids these days, they don't have it figured out.
Get off my lawn.
Well, no, because we've adopted what they're doing too. So I do think that there is something to be said about the things that we had to do probably when we were 15, 17, 20, 25 years old coming up.
Of course, right.
And working that, that we now apply to this new medium. That the generation that's that's coming up right now that's only 17 years old, they don't even know what life is like without Facebook or
the internet.
Right. Period.
I think
you're not 56K dialing this thing in.
Yeah,
Trying
exactly.
to watch a picture load up while you're jerking.
Right.
Oh
man.
Those days were terrible.
The worst.
I think there's positives and minuses. I think one of the positives of it is we fully realize and understand just how weird this is. Just how lucky we are, and how strange this all is. I don't think kids growing up in this will ever understand that because
it's normal.
They take it for granted, right? Yeah. But I fully realize that it's fucking weird.
Well, it's interesting.
That's a big plus.
Yeah, it's interesting because you look at like all this confirmation they're getting constantly.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like we didn't have that. Like anything you did, like you said, nobody gave a shit about it.
Right.
Now we're getting likes or we're not getting likes for it. And how do I tweak and alter what I'm doing based off of all this feedback I'm getting constantly?
I mean, I played, had school paid for a track scholarship. I did 4 years in college competing at LSU. We won 11 national titles, or we won 6 national titles between indoor and outdoor as a track team while I was there. And I was very aware no one gave a shit. That's okay. I didn't do it for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I did it for me. And that's the big difference between our generation and a lot.
It is a huge difference.
Is that everyone wants the fucking outcome. No one wants the work.
Right.
And I think guys like us who love the gym and have always been kind of in it, we love the process.
That's right.
And we're also aware that there's no there. There isn't a finish line to any of this.
No,
the alchemist.
Keep going.
And I mean, if you don't, not taking it for granted, like, I know that this is very strange. It's awesome, and it could be gone tomorrow.
Right.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with enjoying it all for what it is.
That's right.
And if it's gone tomorrow, it is. And I'm always going to remember it as an awesome time. Now, the negatives are, I find that we don't jump on and adopt and recognize things immediately like young kids do. Like they see the trends right away. They see right away when they're going to use something or when to use something, how the new video looks and how the right way to edit and all that kind of stuff. Whereas I tend to base my knowledge off of the stuff that I watch, which is geared
I don't
towards
necessarily think that's a negative thing, though. I think that's part of the plus for us. That's the wisdom side.
Right. I'm with you 100%.
Right.
Like, I look at that and I think, well, man, I don't want to fucking make videos of me doing the bottle flip thing or me fucking doing a makeup tutorial.
That was so 2 years ago.
Me doing a video where my wife puts makeup on my face. I'm not a fucking clown. I'm 35 fucking years old.
Right.
You know what I mean? I've done some shit and seen some places, and I'd rather talk about that. And if that's the difference between me having, the 25,000 subscribers that I have now that are really fucking into what I'm about, or adding another 50,000 that are asking me to do another 10,000 calorie challenge, go fuck yourself.
Right.
I'll tell you what.
You know what? You and I talked yesterday about this, and I think more people that are aspiring to build a business or currently building a business, and they're using YouTube or these social media platforms, that they need to know is that I was telling you that, man, I love meeting a guy like you who doesn't have 1 million plus people on social media, but his business is thriving 10 times more than most of all these people that I meet that have millions. And to me, like that when you focus more on that, your content, the message you're trying to provide, running it like a business, putting the hard work in behind the scenes, it's crazy how much more successful you are versus chasing the number of people that are paying attention, right?
Right. And it's the same thing you guys are doing. I mean, look, none of us are fucking Joe Rogan.
Right.
You know what I mean? but that doesn't mean that I can't make a fucking great living and still be kind of under the radar.
Right.
Which I'm fucking cool with too.
We talked about that too, right? It's not a bad place to be.
No, it's a fucking great place to be. And that means because it's genuine and the content that you guys are putting out is genuine, the people that do find you and come on board, they're in.
Right.
You know, and so that's actually a person that's interested in that, is getting free information from you or free motivation or content or programming or any of these type of things, that now they are willing to give you their dollar.
I think that's true. I think that's a safe generalization in the sense that I would feel very, very strange and I wouldn't be able to put out a fake persona through social media and through the podcast. But I can't imagine that the younger generation coming up, because they're so used to fake persona, they're so used to putting on a different attitude, a different face, a different whatever, that they'll have no scruples about it. There's not going to be any issues with integrity. Whereas for me, for us, it would be very weird. Like I'm not going to pose next to a Lamborghini I don't own.
Sure. But there's also
You know
a weird
what I'm saying?
side to it too, because that generation coming up, they have much different access to their celebrities than we do.
Yeah.
Or we did growing up. Like when I was fucking 10, like I couldn't.
Yeah, they talk
Talk
shit
to
to,
Michael
them
Jordan.
on Twitter. Yeah.
You know, I didn't. And whether
Yeah,
you
they
talk
do.
shit to them or you compliment them or any of these things, right? Like, or say you're a guy who's a YouTube star. Like you can comment
Right.
on this guy's shit, and you can have an opinion that is public.
Right.
Right.
You know, there's less of that. That next generation won't play that game of having to deal with these executives and this fucking old gross guard that holds the fucking keys.
Yeah.
You know, like, no, man, maybe I'm not going to get this $10 million deal for the thing I'm doing, but I can make my own living doing my own thing.
Right.
You know, I told you yesterday that one of my favorite things I heard is, you know, Mark Bell's YouTube channel is doing great, and Mark's fucking all over the place doing stuff and interviewing people, and his son, Jake, I think is 12, 13 now, right? And Jake's got a YouTube channel. Shout out Jake. And, you know, Mark was like, oh, man, you know, that's awesome. You guys are filming skits and doing videos. He says, you know, if you'd ever love to do something and us put it on your channel, maybe we can, you know, have some guys, you know, do something like that. And he just looked dead at Mark and was like, I work for me.
Oh, good job.
I'm like, fuck yeah.
Right. Badass.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's great.
Like, if that's the generation coming up, cool.
Right. Yeah. That's promising.
There's definitely an air that it seems like entrepreneurship is on the rise.
Of course it is.
There's definitely an air about that, and I think part of it is the ease of starting your own business is better, because we had gone through a period of time of more
the red tape is being cut.
Well, there is no red tape because it's a new frontier. So we've gone through a period of decades now where there's more and more regulations. The barrier to enter the market has been, continues to rise. The cost of opening a brick and mortar goes up because of lots of different factors, including regulations and taxes and all that stuff. And now you've got this medium where it costs you not that much. Not only does it cost you not that much, but the equipment to produce certain things has been cut down so drastically. You know how much money it would have cost just 15 years ago to produce some of the green screen work we do, or the videos that we do.
What we're doing right now, the fact that we can do Sling Studio right now, where we got 3, 4, 5 camera angles.
That's $500,000 15 years ago.
Right, yeah,
dude.
And six guys running it. Right?
I've got an apparel business right now that's thriving. There's zero startup dollars in what I did. Zero.
That did not exist not that long ago.
Right. I did not have a business in September of 2014, and like that's a thing. Like
and people complain.
How much?
It's such hard times right now.
No, man.
It's such a hard time.
The opportunities today are so good because the barrier to enter the market has been lowered so dramatically, and the equipment needed and used to produce content or products or whatever, or even the fact that there's people that make money producing products for other people to put out is insane right now. Like, how much could you give us like a rough estimate? How much do you think it would cost you to do your business if it were like 20 years ago? Needing to own equipment, needing to ship it out?
So 20 years ago, right? So now we're talking about like there isn't online.
Right.
So I don't even have the opportunity to have
that's
the
right,
fucking business.
I guess 10 years ago.
Yeah,
Then.
So
'cause
now
then
we're
you're
talking
paying
about
for
a brick and mortar.
mortar.
We're talking about
Paying
I need a
advertising.
warehouse. The amount. Let's say
need
that
machinery.
let's say I've got a brick and mortar and I'm selling the quantity that I'm currently moving. Like I need 30,000 square feet of warehouse to run a printing press, to have a coffee roaster, to have all this shit in house, to have a group of people that can handle boxing, shipping. Well, no, they're not even boxing and shipping. We're putting shit on shelves.
Right.
So
That's
now
right.
I need a building that can handle the foot traffic of 2,500 people a day.
And then you got to spend the money to drive the traffic there too.
Right.
You might not even be profitable right now.
You wouldn't be.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be. It wouldn't be
We're
possible.
doing $1 million. We're breaking even. Fucking sweet.
How fucking awesome is
I
that?
get my own free shirts.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. We think about like in the past, you would have these monster companies that would own markets, and it would be very difficult to enter those markets because of the things we're talking about. I think we're entering into an age where you're going to have less of that. You're going to have less companies that own these massive shares, and a new market where you have individuals and smaller companies owning shares. So you're going to have a lot of people making good money, less people making tons of money, but you're going to have lots of people making some money. Like you're going to have a lot of little millionaires versus one, $500 million.
Well, that stat's already out there, right? Right now we have more millionaires than we ever have, right?
We do.
But how much of that is the pendulum swing, right? Like how much of that is...
That's a good question.
Prior to Walmart, prior to these big conglomerates, right? These were all small businesses.
That's right.
This Apple and all these things started in garages. And so back in the 70s, when you have this run and people are empowered and people are doing their own thing and making this run, which over 20 years, the weak dies, the cream rises, and now that we've got these monsters. But now technology has changed again to the point where we can carve out a living doing our own thing on a smaller page.
Well, part of
We're
it,
carving out our living on their platforms.
Sure. Well,
so these megalithic, these are getting monstrous. These companies.
now, are we in another 10 year back to new mega companies?
here's why I think here's what I think will determine that. I don't think it's the natural progression of the market at all. I think it will be if we regulate and put in barriers to enter the market like we did before. Yes, if we leave it to where it's still open and free, to where I can open a business online. I don't need to get a business license, because where do I get a business license? There's way less regulation.
Sure.
The market regulates me. So if I suck, I'm going to go out of business like it should be. Information is so much faster now because people can rate you instantly. If it stays that way, I think you're going to continue to see this decentralization. And then if you add on top of it technology like 3D printing, 3D printing alone
It's very interesting.
good luck, patenting anything.
Right.
Think about it. Like if I can print my own Converse at home and it's exactly the same, I ain't gonna buy freaking brand name Converse.
No, but what I would do is go on Amazon and download the program for $25.
There you go.
So companies pivot.
That's it.
But then with that, let's say that that's a thing, and in 20 years we all have 3D printers that can print any substance we want, right? And can essentially print my shoes. At that point, think about the difference in change we've made on shipping cost and manufacturing. Where have we cut down on pollution? Where have we cut down on all of these things? However, where we'll have an issue is that planned obsolescence that things have. That we build stuff now not to last 20 years. Like we build stuff like, these are 6 months. And then we throw them away, but they don't fucking go away. They're still on the planet.
Oh, you're talking about that? Yeah.
Or vehicles now.
So that's interesting. And I think market pressures will start to hopefully, and it's already you're starting to see it a little bit, solve some of that stuff. For example, I love saying this because it pisses people off. The storage
Dicks
device
taste good.
Not what I was going to
Weird,
say.
Sal. That's strange.
Yeah, weird thought there. Sal.
Totally not where I was going to go.
That's your platform, bud. I'm just
like
here
you-
to hear what you
Doesn't
gotta
make
say.
me angry.
It's like-
excited.
It's like you
maybe,
read
but-
Adam's mind. When you said that. So storage devices, zip drives, whatever, has saved more trees than these environmental organizations.
Yeah, but can we stop printing phone books?
Yeah, fuck.
Can we fucking agree to stop doing that?
Why does one
still doing that?
At least they got thinner.
Or can we just
Come
grow
on.
hemp instead? Instead of
Now, why do those exist?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not because of the market. Those are not market driven. phone books and all this bullshit mail we get in our mail. That's not market driven.
80% of the shit that shows up at my house is absolute trash.
That is driven to protect industries that need to be gone.
Don't worry, Amazon's on its way.
But they need to be gone.
They're working that way too.
Like there's laws that say you cannot get mail in your mailbox because they protect themselves with these bullshit laws, which is fine. We go around it, but this is what they do, and that's what I'm saying. If we don't regulate the fuck out of ourselves, we're going to see it get better and better and better, and people will be able to enter into the market easier and easier and easier.
I love capitalism.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. But
it's my favorite.
I like capitalism and I like competition. The problem that becomes is when that pendulum swings and you get people that've got the cash. People with cash and people with power have that influence, who can also then make regulations to get rid of competition.
That's crony capitalism,
right? And that's the fucking problem.
Absolutely.
And I don't know that goes away because we're still humans.
Right.
You know, it's funny though. We talk about this a lot between the three of us because we love talking about the future of business.
If there's ever a time that it could go away, it's now.
It's on the way.
It's on its way, because back in the days, you could totally get away with putting out regulation, fucking everybody before they even know they're getting fucked.
Right.
Where now it's different.
It's too fast.
Spreads,
you're right. If you got to be the face of your company, right? And so everybody knows your shit.
Well,
and they know your bullshit, and they can smell it before it starts.
Well, not just that, but innovation happens so fast. Good luck trying to regulate it, because like Uber would have never existed had they known what Uber was going to do.
Now, the interesting side to Uber, right? Like you have a fucking monster company that doesn't own a vehicle.
Yeah.
Right? So as the company itself, right, doesn't own a single vehicle.
Independent contractors.
And so this is this thing that's basically going to get rid of taxi cabs, which has fucking decimated the cab industry.
Right.
Another term I really like, decimated. I'll go back to that. So has fucked up the cab industry. And it's just great, because I love the idea that somebody, well, if you want to hustle, man,
make it better.
You got a car, go fucking go drive.
Right.
What do you have, spare time? Cool, make money.
Right.
However, in 5 more years and automated cars are a thing, does Uber now get rid of all their fucking drivers?
No, so Uber is one of the leaders right now in making the automated car.
Yeah.
So behind the scenes,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So now they're ditched all their drivers. All these people that fought and stood up, and these independent contractors. Is this all in the plan that after we've gotten rid of the cab industry, now we own vehicles that drive themselves, and we don't have the liability?
We're getting rid of mindless jobs all across the board.
But look, man, the world needs ditch diggers too.
True, of course, but
so here's the thing with
we're
that.
getting more efficient.
Yes, here's the thing with that. That's always been a fear. Anytime innovation has come forward, you know, when the wagon makers were very scared when the car was invented. Throughout all of history, we've been afraid because jobs have become obsolete, and we've, you know, quote unquote, lost jobs
because we can't see 10 years forward.
We don't know
what's going to create.
We don't know what. Yeah, because more efficiency is what creates wealth. People falsely believe that wealth comes from paper money, but paper money just represents really efficiency for
exchange.
It's for service and for product.
That's going to die anyway.
As things become more and more efficient, which the driverless car, make no mistake, will be one of the greatest booms to the economy.
Yeah, that is happening.
And it'll be the greatest boom. Think about how much time, money, and it is wasted just being in your fucking car.
Wait, did I fuck
in
up
traffic?
Buying like a 35-year-old Jeep?
No,
Are they just going to show up and be like,
that's freedom. It's going to be a classic real soon.
Or will it be? Yeah, that's not the issue, right? Is it going to be a point where I'm not allowed to drive it because I'm more of a now a liability?
I'm sure certain roads and freeways,
it'll be an antique at one point. In our lifetime, it'll be an antique.
It'll be like owning a horse.
If you have like a little like nice 4-wheel park, you know,
I'll have to go
only
bring
drive
it
on
somewhere in my automated vehicle to drive.
No, it's going to be like what do women always have those China hutches, right? The silverware and the shit you don't even use that you don't even use. Right?
That's
not what the plan was.
It'll be like owning a horse. Like if you own a horse now, you can't ride your horse to the store.
I don't know. I'm looking to invest in a boat.
Think about when the cars go obsolete.
Great investment.
Now all of a sudden we just picked up another 500 to 800 square feet in our house too. Now you don't have to waste it on a garage.
Think of all the parking out there.
So, dude, that's a really strange thing, and I'm sure you guys see it so much fucking more than I've got in Louisiana, right? But like that younger generation than me, like 20-year-olds that I still know at home, like both of them, they're not interested in having cars.
Dude, they don't have license.
Yeah. Nobody gets their license.
My little brother's
rideshare
What's
stuff.
the point?
My little brother's 22, no driver's license.
Dude, I couldn't fucking wait.
I know.
Well,
the birthday.
You weren't
I
gonna
was
get
there on
itching for it.
when
Yeah.
our generation, it was your birthday.
At
You were there.
17?
Yeah.
Like I took driver's
I
ed.
don't
did
care
my
what fucking
bullshit for a
shitty
year.
car I'm driving. I'm out.
No, I had some. What was your first vehicle?
Dude, it was a Honda, one of those like little shit brown ones.
All right.
Oh yeah, like an 82 or something like that.
a Dodge Colt.
Dodge Colt.
Dodge Colt that made clicking sounds when I turned too sharply. So like click, 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 click. And I raced my cousin.
Fuck yeah, you did.
My cousin had a shitty Hyundai. And dude, the way we drove when we were kids, can I tell you something right now?
Look, further proof
I am
that I
so
would
lucky
be
I'm
no
alive.
better
Dude, I
than
took it
Justin Bieber
off-road.
given the path that kid's had.
100%.
Oh my god.
I'd be way more of a piece of shit.
100%.
That level of keys to the kingdom.
100%.
I raced a fucking
I
96
was an
Honda
asshole.
Taurus. You don't think I'd have raced a Ferrari if I'd have had one?
Oh, dude.
I'm not responsible.
I'll never forget. We raced our cars. We made a bet to go. We were driving them backwards on a busy road, driving backwards down, and then going through residential areas. Thank God I didn't kill anybody
You're
or
right.
myself.
Right, first car.
Lucky.
87 Toyota Camry, shit brown, 4 different wheels and hubcaps on it, broken out tail light. The windows were left down in the wintertime and it rained inside, and so it smelled like mildew,
Yes.
and it used to get kicked out of second gear when I drove it.
Attaboy.
So that's
Yeah,
what
I had an 89 Nissan Frontier my dad traded an uncle an aluminum boat and trailer for with 197,000 miles on it.
Wow.
You could not run the air conditioning and radio at the same time. You had to fucking pick.
it's one of the
You
other.
had to choose.
You had to
I mean,
make
you're
a
sweating my
choice.
dick off, but I'm
Right.
listening to my music.
I had headphones and this tape player, this fucking CD Walkman,
Yeah.
and this 40-pound book of CDs in my car.
You know what, though? Shit, there's something to learn from this. Every one of us, right? Builds fucking character.
Yeah, you know how, dude, I was so bummed. So the Jeep I have now, I bought from this guy, and he's, he's talking, and I've done a lot of work to it since I got it, so it fucking runs great now. But when I bought it, it ran like a bag of shit, and so it ran like a 35-year-old fucking Jeep is what it ran like that nobody cared about. And he's talking, he's like, "Oh, I've got a 17-year-old son getting ready to get his driver's license," and I'm like, "Why the fuck are you selling this? This is the vehicle for that kid,
Right.
Let him work on it. Fucking help him do all. I'm thinking in my brain, right?" And he's like, "Oh no, I'm getting a new truck, so I'm just gonna give him the old one. The old one's a fucking like a King Ranch Ford." I'm like, "You're giving a 17-year-old like what was it?
Like a
$70,000 truck, right? Like
Oh man.
you fucked him up.
Right,
You've just given him the nicest truck he may ever own.
Right.
When will he
As a
ever
fucking high
appreciate
school
anything?
kid.
Think about that for a second. Not a lot of people think about that how much they're how distorted that is for them when you get something like that and you just got it that easy.
Yeah.
And so then you think when you're an adult, like, how hard it was for me to get to a point where I can afford a vehicle like that? I worked my fucking ass off before I even
Right.
got close to that.
Right. Meanwhile, our parents' generation who preaches,
Same.
hard work, blah blah blah, like responsible, this and that. You motherfuckers, the baby boomers, you guys bought houses. My parents bought their house for $14,000 in 1970.
Right. I have sneakers more valuable than
you know
what
what
my
I mean?
parents paid
In
for a house.
1970.
A little bit of a skewed perspective.
And so the mortgage thing was like, well, look, it's 17 grand or whatever, and look, over the course of 30 years, you may pay us 35,000, but the value's gone up. So after you've paid for that fucking house, it's worth 200.
Yeah.
Or even let's say it's worth 170. Let's say it went up 10 times what the original price was. My house is never going to be worth $3 million. It's fucking never going to happen. Otherwise, this is a sweet investment. There also isn't checking accounts that had fucking 14% fucking interest rates. Do you know what I mean? Like things are fucking different for your generation.
Oh,
You
big
guys had a weird spot. But I mean, while we have more opportunity and access to a lot of things, they went through an amazing economic boom that we're not going to have again.
No.
no.
It
We don't
depen-
have pensions anymore.
Yeah, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, it really does depend on how you look at it.
I don't know, dude. You can't. So you
Look,
can't
there is
deny,
fucking money to be made.
The closest thing to the Great Depression was just not that long ago.
Right. There's money to be made. There's no doubt about that. But that natural bit of, oh, I bought a house, that was fucking guaranteed money.
Well, it was. They didn't know it, but it was different. Today, it doesn't mean the same thing anymore. It may not be the investment that it once was, unless you live in the Bay Area. Like you buy a house here 5 years ago, you've made
Yeah, but sure,
quite a
who
bit
the
of money.
fuck can afford to buy a house
right,
here
you're right.
when you were 20?
You're right. But if we go back to our parents' generation, they didn't go on vacations ever.
No, you're
ever.
right too. You're right.
They didn't eat out ever. They didn't have a cable bill. They didn't have a cell phone bill. They didn't have access to all this information.
You mean
There
they
weren't the
didn't
same-
carry around $1,000 device in their pocket
That's
that
the
had
thing.
all the information of
Yeah.
forever and upgraded every year and a half?
When you bought a car back then, a
I
car.
wonder about that. No, I guess
You
ask
drove it. Yeah,
Google.
if you bought
don't
a car,
wonder
you drove
anymore.
for 10 fucking years.
But once it hit about 100,000 miles, that thing was going to explode.
Well, but that's no different than now. That's fucking no different.
Cars last a long time now.
The engine will handle the miles. It won't handle the age. Like, you can't go buy a fucking car that holds up for 10 years of just having people get in and out of it.
No.
Oh, I hear what
anymore.
you're saying.
They're not made of metal.
Yeah. Well, you could also work on your cars back then. Today,
also true.
today
right.
you need laser beams and fucking flux capacitors just to figure out.
planets aligned.
Yes.
And,
How do you ever open?
robots.
You
Open it up,
open
this is a goddamn computer. This is a car.
it's all covered in shit. I'm
No,
like,
that's
my robot.
I
Man,
can't see
I
it.
grew up working on bicycles, and so like bicycles fucking make sense to me. I'm like, oh, this accident makes a noise. I see where it's fucking up.
Yeah,
I
it's,
can
like,
add
visible.
lubrication or I can fix it. Whereas like if my computer starts acting funny, I'm just like
You get angry and just smash
push it. And I just push it away under something, like order another one. Like, well, that's fucking dead. It's gone forever. Like, can't fix that.
Oh,
Just
we've had a good run. Yeah.
Just take a 2-inch hole saw and punch straight through the
I was
center
watching
of it, put it in the garbage can.
What movie was I watching with my kid? It was only like 10 years old maybe, and they were using a computer on there, and it was the big, big old square.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And my son
Like
starts
we all
laughing.
had in college.
My son starts
2E.
laughing. He's like, "Oh my god!" He goes, "Computers look like that." I'm like, "Yeah, they did, dude."
They used to take up this whole room.
yeah.
Yeah.
They used to be like a yellow notepad is what it used to
Yeah,
be.
right.
and a stack of dictionaries. That's all it
Shit, a
was.
stack of dictionaries.
It's
Dude, think about, you know how fucking crazy you'd be if you went to go buy encyclopedias right now?
Yeah.
Right.
I still
Encyclopedia
think they're
Britannica.
cool. Yeah, I still think they're cool. Just
That was
for-
a
just for
business.
looks.
My mom did that.
That's
She's
for looks,
so-
right? So now we're just
door to
talking
door
about a
selling
thing that,
encyclopedias.
right, thing that just sits on your fucking shelf now.
I had them.
Yeah, we did too.
Yeah.
I remember doing book reports with them.
Right, yeah.
I also was lucky enough that during my time in college, I could do reports and actually use Wikipedia and cite it, and it wasn't considered insane.
Oh, you must have been right on that
Yeah,
cusp.
that's
Yeah,
right
yeah.
behind us. Yeah.
You're like, wait a second, this isn't facts.
We're still Dewey Decimal Systeming it.
Dewey
you know what I mean?
Decimal
Oh,
System.
dude,
Kids don't need to know
forever.
the Dewey
No, they
Decimal
don't need that
System anymore.
No, I was helping my son with this report, and he's like, he just has to look shit up and then print out the source, and here's where I found it.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Remember
you're
the
done.
microfiche? You remember that thing? It was
No.
like you'd look at it, it's a screen, and it
Oh,
goes
yeah,
through
yeah, yeah.
all the
Yeah,
old like
newspaper
newspapers.
clippings and shit
What's
like
it
that.
called?
Right?
A microfiche?
Microfiche.
I used to use that for research.
How
That just
much-
brought that thought
Sounds
to
like
my head.
a
I'm
weird
oh my
sexual
God, I sound like a
innuendo.
fucking-
You know what I mean?
It has to do with small fish.
It's a little tiny.
Hey, let me show you my microfiche.
Yeah, a little tiny one.
It's like a pilot fish that swims next to your dick.
It cleans it.
Yeah.
Every now and then.
Just
It
slides
just
in.
rides.
Speaking
it's
of-
success.
Bites off
Speaking
the
of
old
fucking
scales.
dicks,
Yeah.
let's get a little strange
Let's talk
here.
about it.
I think it's really strange, like with our country, that we have the right religious sect that we do, right? The hardcore right, and feel free to believe whatever you want. But that same sect, that like God provided this for me and bless us. I don't know why I go Southern accent when I have to fucking act like that. I'm sure there's people from other places that
Hell's
also act
bells.
like this, but
Yeah.
these are the same people that believe, well, thank God, and He's blessed me for doing all these things, and we are so lucky, and everything I have is because God gave it to me, except my kid's dick. We're going to cut some skin off of that. It was created wrong. Like we're still a society that needs to mutilate baby dicks. Quit acting like we're some kind of goddamn future people.
You know what?
That is a deep
We're
thought,
chopping
my
up
friend.
baby dicks because they're not pretty.
You know what? You know what? I hate to say it. Objectively speaking,
Yikes.
you are 100% correct. So I was circumcised as a kid.
Yeah.
And so my son,
I got halfway done.
I'll confirm that. Yeah.
DIY project went
Lazy.
terribly south.
it's like you read articles to confirm it to make you feel better about
It's like the half turtleneck.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is
The mock
It's a
turtle-
look.
mock turtleneck.
It's a look. It's kind of
it is.
It'll come back in style.
If circumcision didn't exist for thousands of years and someone just brought it forward, like, hey man, I got this idea.
Yeah.
Let's cut the skin off our kids.
Yeah.
Be like, fuck, throw that motherfucker in jail.
Yeah.
See that baby dick? We could fix that
We can
thing
make it
right
better.
up.
What else are weird things that we
Let's
still
shave
do right
around
now
it.
that are weird traditions that we just haven't broke free of yet?
Marriage?
Now you're touching one that I always touch on.
Well, not marriage, but the idea.
He's on my wife's listening.
The fucking idea that people spend that much money on a wedding.
Right.
That's insane.
One that hit me the other day is a weird thing, and maybe this is just the South, right? And so, like, we've got historical sites like plantations and shit you can do trips to for they fucking go on history class tours of plantation homes and stuff like this, right? And like we had a friend of ours that got married at a plantation home, and I was like, that's kind of fucked, right? Like you're getting married at a place where they owned other people.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
I think
Like, do you have black friends that you invite to this plantation home wedding, or has there been a black couple that gets married at the plantation because it is pretty? And if there's
That'd be a
not,
power
that
move
means
right there,
something's
right?
fucking weird.
right.
As long as you didn't have slaves,
I think
you're okay.
I think
Is that the
marriage.
rule?
I think marriage should be like a 3 to 5 year lease.
Oh,
I
nice.
think you should have to. I think you decide you're going to get married with somebody. I think
give it 10.
I think every 3 years you should have to sit down, and it should be easy. It shouldn't be like a huge process. Shouldn't cost a bunch of money, but you should both have to sit down and go through whether it be a signing thing.
It's got a lot of mileage
and turn something and say like, "Hey, do you want to keep going or what?"
Oh, it's just not worth the headache of splitting up half my shit.
Right. Like that's why I feel like you should have to have that like, hey, we're at the 3 year mark, and do I want to turn this thing in and upgrade, or do I want to just keep leasing this thing? Or maybe I want to buy this forever,
I think the crazy part about it,
Lease to own.
the craziest part is the fucking wedding ring.
It's very strange. Dude,
Weird.
My fucking wife and I had it. I remember at the time that we had started talking about getting engaged, I am fucking broke. I'm running a bike shop, and like our bike shop is knocking down 112 gross with 3 owners.
Oh shit.
So let's say we had a 50% margin. Now we're at fucking 60 grand to split between 3 owners with no growth. So we don't have any money to reinvest in the business at a sweet 20 grand a piece. And so she starts looking at rings and stuff like that and comes back to talk to me, and she's like, this is what I looked at. I really like it. It's not crazy. And it was like fucking $6,800. And at the time, like, I fucking started laughing at her. I'm like, are you fucking crazy? I'm like, $6,800 fucking dollars. Like, we're deciding what bills to currently pay. Like each month, like which one won't they shut off? And we got a window here to fucking pay a different one. $6,800 on a thing that doesn't do something? Like, I can't justify this nice watch I want that's $200, and it fucking tells time. Dude, it does a thing.
I have a younger sibling right now who's engaged to get married, and she's got 2 kids of her own, or 1 on the way and 1 already she's had, and then she has 2 from the guy that she's getting married to. They have 1 car between the 2 of them. They have 1 job between the 2 of them. Struggling to get by, still having to borrow money and stuff from my family and stuff. Meanwhile, has convinced my father, my stepfather, my mother, and his parents to give them over $30,000 for a wedding. And I'm like, this is so fucking backwards to me.
Why wouldn't you guys have a $1,500 party?
Right.
And take fucking $28,500 and get out of the fucking hole you're in?
Right. It doesn't
make any sense.
Makes no sense.
Not a fucking lick.
Wanting to
It's
do
very strange.
Huge, you know why? Because it's really not about.
Oh, it's not about the 2 people getting married.
No.
Dude, not at all.
It's a display.
I spent $13,000 on my ex-wife's wedding ring, and our wedding cost, I think, $50,000.
Jesus fuck.
And we're divorced. I mean, and part of it's because I'm young, and it's the thing you're supposed to do. And
Look, there's part of it that it's fun at some age, right? To have at that age, it's almost important that you're like showing people how well you're doing. Mm-hmm. But look, we're doing it, man. We are living like you guys are. Fake it till you make it.
Right.
Ridiculous.
But then you don't make it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely. God, what
faker.
Yeah, it's stupid. And the ring is the worst. At least a wedding, as ridiculous as that is, at least it's a party and people get food and stuff. What the fuck is a ring? It's a ring.
It's shiny.
With
It's
a
not
rock
even
on it.
rare. It's not even a rare fucking
No,
rock.
it's fake. It's false rare.
Right. It's fucking made up by 2 families that own all of them.
Yep.
Fucking.
If I ever got married again, which I wouldn't, but if I did, there would be no ring.
No,
Sorry.
I've got a ring, but
Tattoo.
since I'm less fat, I now wear this rubber one because my other one doesn't fit.
Oh, really?
My wife's got, a nice ring, but we were very fortunate that I had rings from my grandmother and a ring from her grandmother that were very similar looking. And so we have both of those together. And so that was kind of cool that there's some tradition to it, right? But they're not expensive in either way.
Right.
But they were special to us, and I'm glad my wife's not a fucking crazy person, so that helps.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That does
Yeah.
help.
Get like a Swiss Army knife ring or something.
Right.
That does
Fucking
something.
better.
Functional.
But we've had more friends in
Lasers
the
in
last
it.
couple years that do the elope thing. And I'm like, this is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Like I got ordained as a minister and have done a couple weddings, and Like the last one I did, there were fucking 6 people there.
So my girl and I, we talk about like when we decide to do this, that we're going to go to the most exotic, expensive place.
Just narrow it down right there.
Right? That's how we're going to do it.
Oh,
Like,
you can't afford it? That's too bad.
it's really
We're
going to
getting
be
married in Antarctica.
right.
It's
really
a fucking 10-day boat ride from New Zealand. It's awesome.
It's exactly. It's going to be one of those trips that we've always wanted to do. And oh, by the way, we're going to do that whole wedding thing. About why
we'll get married
there.
when we're there.
Yeah, and those that can make it can make it. That's the plan.
Or just show up, get fucking do that, right? Don't even fucking have some guy who's ordained as a minister and do any of the bullshit. Just get married between the two of you.
Right.
And then fill out paperwork when you get home.
Right.
It's stupid that you have to fill out fucking paperwork, by the way.
Yeah.
I
have to involve the government in my
it's
relationship, right?
I love her.
Yeah.
That is a fact.
And I'm going to prove it because I'm going to
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to sign
I will
right.
pay
I
you.
mean it,
I will
sir.
pay you some small percentage of less money every year because we are now together.
I need your permission. Is it okay if we get married to? If is it okay if we do this?
Tax me on this, please, sir.
Yeah.
Dude,
Thank you.
I got married in a Catholic church, which was really strange. And prior to that,
I
we
know all
had to
about
do
that.
this pre-canna thing. Did you have to do any of that?
What's that?
I had to go to this. It was like a
It's like a retreat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
I did a 3-day weekend at
The men
church.
sleep on one side, the women sleep on. Yeah.
I didn't handle the posturing of this very well. This is the most stress that we have ever had and like most fighting between us.
Oh, that's funny.
Because I just don't deal with it well. And so like I'm asking, like I don't give a shit. And I'm asking questions to the people who are running it because I know they're kooks. And like, so like they put us in this group and I remember them talking and one of the guys who was with us was like essentially sharing that he had to go to like sex rehab or something like that. And, you know, his wife was there and she's like, we prayed it away and blah, 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 and all this shit. And so like they had this moment where they let us anonymously ask whatever questions we want. I was like, I just want to be clear on a few things. Catholic Church is totally okay with me paying you guys to help me pray away my sex addiction and go to this thing. But birth control, that's fucked. That's where we're at. Yeah. And they're like, make more Catholics. That's the goal. Like, fucking hell, man.
The Mormons have that figured out.
Yeah.
A lot of kids.
Yep.
They have a lot of kids. And they're growing because of it. Nothing inherently wrong with some religion, but man, can it be?
There's nothing wrong with faith.
It's turned into a business.
I don't have any problem with spirituality. I don't have any problem with faith.
It's when it becomes dogmatic.
But we made a weird fucking turn when the place that you're going to get together with other people is a basketball arena. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right. It's a business.
You're Joel Osteen. You're people like that.
It's turned into a serious business.
Right.
No.
I mean, we could do this in a field.
Right.
You know.
Well, it's the perfect weapon for bad people, and I'll tell you why.
Of course, right.
And I'll tell you why. If I create a government or
you guys seen Ozark yet?
Say what?
It's great.
No.
Right.
You
haven't seen Ozark yet? Oh, you got to watch that.
If I create a system of government, I create Nazism or communism, which are both evil and have killed more people than in modern times than religions have. But let's say I create those in modern times.
Fucking did a great work.
Oh, before modern times, yes.
People are catching up to the Catholics left and right, but they fucking laid waste.
They did before, but you look at the 20th century alone, and you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of millions of people killed by both of those. But if I create a system of government and it gets proven wrong and it gets defeated like Nazism, it's gone. With religion, I can say, just have faith. Just have faith. I don't need to show you evidence or proof. And by the way, if you die, and by the way, if you die, you're going to go to this great place. You create a fanaticism that you can't create with any other. You require none. In fact, the scary thing to me is when you ask a religious person this simple question: is there anything that I could show you, or any evidence that exists on earth that could show you, that could prove to you that what you believe in is wrong? Would it work? And they'll say no. There's nothing you could possibly say.
Right. It's like telling people believe Earth is flat.
That is a very powerful tool. And it's been used by some very bad people.
Well, I mean, I thought they very simply covered that in the movie Book of Eli. Where
I don't watch that, man.
It's solid.
Oh, you see that?
No,
Denzel Washington?
Under a rock or what?
You know, Gary Oldman character is essentially trying to get this final copy of the Bible that exists. And his reasons for he's like, if I have this book, it answers these questions that these people have in this post-apocalyptic world because they can't read, because they are illiterate. They don't think for themselves. If I have this book, they'll fucking listen and they'll do what I say.
They'll have the power.
Yeah. And religion has done that. Now, whether religion started with those intentions or not,
Right.
I don't know, but it's definitely getting used for that.
Right.
I mean, there's not a big group of scientists and atheists that are slaughtering each other in different parts of the world.
With communism was atheists. It's people, really. I think what we have to be careful for is saying,
yeah, but communism wasn't killing people because they weren't agreeing. They were just killing people. Stalin just fucking laid waste to a bunch of people because they didn't do the things he said you're going to do now. Not because they didn't believe in. These people were just going to go.
Well, the thing I like to stress is that we have to always go down to this. It's people. It's just people. People are doing it.
Look, the bell curve, we have just playing the bell curve and the full spectrum, right? You have average people and you have shitty people. And both those groups are going to far outnumber awesome people all the time.
Yeah.
Just based on numbers.
And that's in any category, too.
Anything you do, right? And
sometimes you get shitty people who are really good at getting the normal people
on their side
to listen to them.
Oh, fucking hell. So my buddy Jeff Nichols that I've been with the last couple of days, military guy, we're laughing about World War II, right? And so like most people during World War II weren't aware of the genocide bit. Like that isn't why we decided to fight Germany. That was something like we started showing up and we're in Poland and we're like, what in the fuck happened here? And so, I mean, were there times like as a great public speaker and like whatever Hitler had going for him that he's talking, he's like, we're going to bring Germany back to the greatest power. And people are like, yeah. And he's like, we're tired of dealing with this. We're going to manufacture. We're going to do all these things. We're going to get rid of the Jews. And he's like, did he say fucking get rid of the Jews?
Just slid it in there.
Wait a minute. I don't think that's what he said. He said there'll be more juice. Like, yeah. Fucking hell, man. Like what? The shit that the atrocities that man has done to man will always continue.
Yeah.
I don't know that changes. I don't know that changes for us as a species. But there's interesting things. Like the truth is we haven't fucking been here that long.
We're learning.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
We're fucking learning. And, think about how much we've evolved as a society and grown in the last, well, let's say 2 million years, which is all man's been here. And then look at the last 100. Where are we if we don't blow up ourselves? I mean, make no mistake, nature doesn't give a shit. The earth will continue to spin after we've done that or not.
Right.
It'll sort itself out. Right. Whether or not we're involved is up to us.
Right.
Where are we at if we continue at the pace we're at for 10,000 years?
Right. Not even that.
It's an interesting question. What I find fascinating is that
I want to believe that it will be forced to swing back the other way.
If we make it 10,000 years, we've proved that we didn't blow ourselves up.
Right.
So something's drastically changed.
Well, as scary and shitty as things can look, if you really look at them objectively, there's a lot of good signs. Okay, it was for most of human civilization, people could only really get along with people in their tribe, and that tribe has grown. Technology's allowed that. Travel has allowed that. Roads, railroads, cars, planes, to where now we have.
So is breeding amongst countries and races and all that stuff.
Yeah, now we have nations, and the economy now is global. Like if we just go back to the Cold War, which ended while we were alive, we were kids, right? The Soviet Union and America had enough nukes pointed at each other that could have destroyed the whole Earth several times over. Right. And it was a real threat. It was such a real threat that came within a hair's. I mean, it came so close.
Remember, we had drills as kids, right?
But it was. You talk to people who were, in the up and up in the governments of both the Soviet Union and the U.S. during the time, and they'll tell you, "Oh, we almost killed each other a couple times for reals." Now let's look at today. Let's look at the other great superpower communist country and nation in the world, China. China poses almost no threat to us.
No, they're actually a pretty good business partner.
That's why.
Yeah.
Because we all trade. The world has become so global. We didn't trade with the Soviets at all.
The only real asshole out there as a country, look, there's shitty factions all over the place. But the only real asshole is North Korea. And the issue with
we don't
North
trade
Korea,
with them.
No, we don't, right? But the problem with North Korea that I think the media, or well, because it's not sensationalized, but the truth, at least my opinion, right? What the fuck do I know of North Korea is they're not really a threat. I mean, sure, this guy is launching missiles and doing all this and this big pomp to show to his people what strength they have. But we have a system in place with battleships parked off the shore of North Korea that will shoot down an intercontinental missile and fucking erase North Korea.
Yeah, if need be.
Yeah, we're not talking about the atom bomb anymore. We're talking about thermonuclear hydrogen bombs that are 10,000 times stronger what we dropped on Hiroshima. Right. These are a thing that essentially the second it goes off, and we have a couple hundred parked offshore, not one. These are a thing that when it hits and goes off, the reality of that is a 3.5 mile fireball that's 550,000 degrees. Mm-hmm. You're touching a piece of the sun to that area.
Yeah, and really the threat isn't that they'll destroy us or damage us or maybe even kill anybody. The threat's to South Korea because they're so close. But the big threat is this, the cost. Let's say we do that. Now we're dealing with nuclear fallout, which
not from that small of a thing. You're talking about a small country. We're not talking about this isn't a global affair.
Not to us.
North Korea doesn't have allies for the most part.
Right, not to us, but you got South Korea there.
Shit's fucked over there. Don't get me wrong.
Major trading partner. And then you have a humanitarian crisis where in the past, we go back 500 years, you blow up a country, leave them there, let them sort themselves out. Won't happen today.
No.
And if we did do that and we went over there, those people are so brainwashed. Like if we go over there, we'd have to kill all of them. It would be insane. When they have people that escape North Korea into South Korea, it takes them years.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Because they're so mentally fucked. They think they can't even comprehend that there's a world outside of their own world. They've been fed so many lies since they were born. It's a very strange situation. So I don't even think the fear is that, oh, they're going to necessarily hurt us. There's, of course, South Korea. And there's the, what do we do after? Like, what do we do now? We can't go in there and rebuild like these people are.
This area is shitty.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation.
But Japan was in the same boat for a long time during World War II with the Emperor. I mean, these were people more than fucking happy to die for this cause.
But we got Japan. First of all, we got Japan to surrender and to do it openly, to show their people.
Part of that is the way that there's a big difference between how we fight war now and how we fight war in World War II. We didn't drop a fucking bomb on Hiroshima on a military base. This was a city of people. Yeah. Yeah. We dropped a fucking bomb to break the spirit of the people's will to fight. We don't fight like that anymore.
We also killed far more people with our incendiary bombing raids than we did the nukes.
We firebombed cities. You know, we fucking hammered stuff.
Yeah, it was crazy in those days.
It's a different thing now.
Totally different.
Good, as long as it doesn't switch to being robots. Yeah. Fighting robots.
Sometimes, don't you think North Korea just plays into the whole fear thing to get everybody behind?
Putin's not testing his missiles. He knows they work. You know what I mean? Of course, that it's posturing with the North Korea thing. Yeah. It's bad haircuts and fucking insanity.
You want
it's guys who write books who say that he's only played one round of golf and he shot 38 under par with 11 holes in one and then never played again. Yep. And that's fact.
He doesn't. And I just hung out my cleats.
He created electricity.
He doesn't poop because he works so hard. He absorbs all his food.
Amazing.
This is what they tell people. Did you know crystal meth it's legal in North Korea?
Helps you work and focus.
They give it to their people.
That's a good call.
And it helps with their appetite.
I feel like that's what we've been missing, to be dead.
Productivity.
Talk about fat loss.
I'm thinking Mind Pump Paint Burn Goods collaboration on a supplement.
Yeah.
Not crystal meth. That's the name of it.
But like
crystal meth.
This is definitely not
proprietary
crystal meth.
This isn't crystal meth. But you will have energy.
Mistal Kreth, we'll call it.
Yeah, nice, dude. Brondo. King of the juice.
Good deal.
Man, fuck, dude. You know, there's just so much strange. It's weird time because we have so much access to information. We have so much access to people, and it's not a big deal that I communicate very easily with friends of mine that live in Iceland or Scotland or fucking all these places. I can do it as if they're in the room with me. I mean, how I could video chat.
Right.
I don't understand how that works. I'm going to be dead honest with you. There's no wires.
It's always fascinated me.
Even the truth is, I almost understand that better than how I understand a hard line that 30 years ago you could have a phone call with someone in Australia.
And your voice sounds
and
the
it
same.
went through a wire immediately around the world. Like, what in the fuck is going on here?
I still don't
put
get
all
that.
that wire on the
I still don't
ocean
get that.
floor. Yeah.
Someone smarter than me. A lot. And I'm glad those people are around.
Hell
Because
yeah.
I'm basically not that intelligent. Just a
No, we're all
caveman.
fucked if those people die.
Yeah. We need more of these inventors to do things. Where's our new Nikolai Tesla? Oh, it's Elon Musk. That guy's very strange.
They all are very strange,
Yeah.
but they're doing some crazy stuff, man. I tell you what, where those Amazon, Google, Facebook, what we're on, I think the next 5 to 10 years is going to be really wild. I think we're going to see some change like we've never seen. I mean, when you talk about the car industry, the shipping industry, like the way we've purchased things for so many years, I mean, we are about to see everything get flipped on its fucking head, man. And that's gonna be, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be really, I mean, I'm excited. I think it's gonna bring, I'm hopeful, right, that it's gonna bring great things. I think that it's gonna bring more innovators. It's gonna be better for us. But it is crazy to think like the things that we held close to us that were so important are gonna change completely. I think, I really do. And that book, I think I told you yesterday, I was telling you about the 4 that get into that, and man, it's pretty fascinating to see. I got one for you to kind of to chew on and speculate. That's like that we're a part of here. So we got Facebook, Google, Netflix, all these guys in our backyard, and Apple, and watching it, and they're all so here. So my girl works for the largest concrete company in the Bay Area, and they have what they call the concrete wars. And it's a real thing where these companies, they're building so fast that they put people out of business because they can't keep up with the work. And so they have to hire, like at all times, there's thousands of people, building buildings and laying
slabs and foundations and infrastructure. And
because they're building these little mini worlds. And within them are the best, they're going to build the best doctor's office, the best movie theater, the best grocery stores. And, and then it makes me think like, okay, so we have Apple Pay, Google Pay, and then you have these little mini worlds that offer all these amenities, which we use. Like if there's a place to do my laundry.
Well, why wouldn't I?
Right. Why wouldn't I be a part of it if they're providing a better service? And then to think, okay, what if they start to take this and go, instead of paying us $100 or $50 for this service, it's Apple points or Apple money, and you get this for contributing to the company.
All they need to pay is minimum wage. They'll pay you minimum wage, and then everything else will be points or whatever.
Yeah, points or some
Opt-in.
buy system, like whatever a new EA system is for buying shit on Battlefront.
And it'll be worth more than money.
And you'll value it more because
It doesn't inflate. It doesn't.
Or Bitcoin.
Right.
Oh, shit.
You know what I mean? That's there.
I know.
Yep.
I almost bought, dude, I was so mad. I almost bought $5,000 worth of Bitcoin back when it wasn't worth anything. Today it'd be worth something like $10 million. I swear to God, I was this close.
Woof.
Yeah.
I don't have any of those stories.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
I'm doing the best. I'm currently, I think, the best version of me that could have been. There's not some weird
Doubling
ball
down
drop.
on
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Not some weird ball drop.
Oh, man.
But what are you gonna do, right? Right. So I guess I may as well actually talk about what you guys do with Mind Pump. Now that we've introduced,
we're gonna cover that.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys essentially started with the podcast first, right?
That's it. That's Mind Pump. Yeah, Mind Pump was the podcast.
So the podcast, you guys essentially go out and share information for what, 2 years? You said.
Yeah, for about a year we went and we didn't.
That's all we did.
We didn't monetize or anything. We got together like maybe 6 months before it all happened, and there was some communication back and forth between Sal and I, and Justin and I were already buddies and doing stuff together. And Doug was doing business with Sal. They were working on the very first program, which we ended up releasing. And, Sal and I were just kind of talking back and forth on Facebook, and just a lot of the things that we saw wrong with the fitness industry were right in line. And we're just like, man, there's got to be somebody out there with a voice. And we all got in a room together one day, and it was just like instant chemistry. And when we were in the room, we were all just going back and forth on everything that we had seen, where we thought, and we were predicting where kind of fitness was going to go. And for us, it was really this like raw truth approach of just being very transparent with people and cutting through all the bullshit, because And the reason why we had a unique perspective of that is we grew up in the gym industry. So we were a part of the 24-hour fitness heydays where it was the largest fitness chain in the world. It was the first fitness business that was worth billions of dollars.
Right.
And we were a part of that growth. And part of that growth, we were taught how to sell bullshit really well. And we were, the three of us were.
Oh, we've all done it.
We were really good at it. We were really good at it, and for many years,
we bought into it.
Yeah, we were bought into it.
Well, I mean, if it's showing you success, why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
You know what you mean?
It took a long time before I think, and I do remember this moment. I remember, getting all the accolades, right? And what made a good trainer back then, or for working for them, was how much money you made, how much clients, how much money you brought the business. It wasn't about how much you changed people's lives or results you got. It was about revenue, right? And so.
And if you make that the goal, people are going to game the system.
Exactly. And we were really good at that. And I remember one day being celebrated as the best trainer and the top this and the top that, and going like, well, am I really? Because like 80% of my people don't fucking see the results, less than that, And so am I really that good? Like, how can if this is the best gets like fails 80% of the time at helping their people. And that was a big moment for me to realize that, wow, this has been kind of a facade and bullshit, that we are preying on people's insecurities and using that to market and sell to them. And I was really fucking good at it. And we had all seen that. And we're now, and I think it matters that we were older, right? We're 30 plus years old when we all get together and we're having this conversation, and we're like, you know what? That's still the formula today.
Still the thing.
That is still.
There will always be beginners, and there's always going to be 22-year-old trainers.
Right.
None of that's going away.
Right.
Yep.
And
I mean, we wanted to create something where we could present real, honest, raw fitness advice and information, not have to worry about being sponsored, not have to worry about
for free
anything for free.
Provide information to people for free.
And real information.
Based
raw
on your
and real.
experience that you did in the industry.
That's right. Yeah. And we came out guns blazing. And we called out a lot of the bullshit. And we talked about the bullshit that's promoted by the supplement companies to get you to buy more supplements. We talked about the bullshit programming, exercise programming that wasn't effective for most people. We talked about
the before and after bullshit.
We talked about all that, and we called it all out, and didn't anticipate for it to get as much traction as it did, and it grew. And then we realized, hey, we can become a media company and provide this information on multiple platforms, and that's what we've been working towards ever since.
Well, that was the angle we took, because we're not celebrities. We're not this big name that all of a sudden now it's like we got this immediate authority. We had to really work for our authority. We had to provide people with information they can grab onto.
Right. I mean, you're supposed to.
Right.
Right. You have to work for it and earn that trust, from these people in this audience. And that took some time, man. That took well over a year, almost 2 years.
Right.
And people started to kind of believe us and our authenticity and our message. And that's really our biggest passion, was just to treat each individual person like they're our own client. Like they're just starting out. What are my first steps? And we tried to spell it out to them and be like, look, stay away from this. Like, this is all bullshit over here. Like, this is what you want to focus on. It's these simple things.
And part of the cool thing was that, Adam mentions the chemistry. Like, the three of us will sit down in a room and we just have great conversation.
Right.
And we have a lot of fun. And all of us early on were like, let's not have a filter. Let's just say whatever we want.
Yeah.
And it turned into, who could say what and shock the other guy, make him laugh. And then it kept going. And it turned into this formula where it's, education and entertainment. What do they call it?
Edutainment.
Infotainment. There you go.
We also
buzzwords.
We also saw that
synergy.
The people that most people in fitness were looking up to and looking for advice for were some of the worst people giving the advice.
Yeah.
And some of the people that have, and that's not everybody, there's some really good people out there, but unfortunately most of those people, the ones that are doing all the research, the ones writing books, the ones that are in labs and doing shit like that, or going to school, busting their ass to learn and educate, unfortunately, those aren't the ones that are in the front right now. Like the covers of magazines, the people with 1 million followers, like those aren't the ones.
You can essentially look at the fitness magazine industry, and it's, I mean, it's almost like it's on a repeat cycle. Every 4 years, they just reprint the same articles with new pictures.
Exactly what it is.
The fitness magazines were designed to sell products.
Of course,
It's a big brochure. That's all it is.
That's all it is, right?
It's always been that way.
But for a long time, that was the information.
That was the only way. That was it. Where else would you go?
Which is why people got so fucking rich off of it.
Yeah.
Because if you wanted to work out, well, I don't know what to do. I guess I'll pick up, Muscle and Fitness and
Muscle and Fiction.
Muscle and Fiction. And I mean, here's the honest truth though. Like if there was an ARM program in Muscle and Fitness, it's gonna work. If you were to follow that for 10 weeks, it works.
Right.
So it's not like it's all bullshit.
No, what it is, it's just it's just a small piece of the whole pie.
Of course.
That's what it is. And
they're essentially feeding you a little bit of truth to sell you on the rest of this bullshit.
Exactly.
Because everyone wants a pill.
It's like the guy, I mean, I'm sure Arnold with his arms like that probably did that workout once or twice.
Yeah, of course.
Like I'm sure there's some truth to that, but there's so much more to what it has taken to get like that for this person. So, and being a 17, 18-year-old boy going to the gym and trying to figure things out, that's you looked at what was he taking? He's taking these supplements and doing these workouts.
Yeah, he's taking mass gainer, not Trenbolone.
Right, exactly. So, that was a lot of the motivation. And, it was pretty early on that we recognized that, we weren't alone, that there was more people that wanted to hear this. And we're not like the original people giving good fucking advice.
No, of course.
But we did put a little spin and flavor on it that I thought was different than a lot of people in our space. And that was the ability to have fun with it, fuck around, have a good time, make people laugh, meanwhile dropping some good information to them. So that was really I think our secret sauce. And it wasn't like we went in with that intention, like, okay, we're going to make people laugh and then we're going to tell them some science.
It actually just turned into that.
Right. Well, I mean, the success is a side effect. Right. It was never the goal. The goal was to provide this information, and then because you're doing a good job of it, people were interested to give you their money.
We all had full-time jobs up until like maybe a year and a half into it. We all worked full-time. We would meet twice a week, at first in Doug's living room, and then we would meet in this tiny, like 1/4 of the size of this room, studio that we rented for I think $400 a month. And we'd sit on top of each other because it was so small. And
sounds really hot.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Smell each other's farts.
And we would record, 2 or 3 episodes in a row after work. So we'd meet up there at like 6 or 7 p.m.
It's fucking brutal.
We'd go till about 10 o'clock at night, and we'd all fucking high five and leave. Yep. And then we'd talk to each other through text here and there, and that was it. And we did that for a long time, man. And
it wasn't decide to have an idea and then rent out a space, put turf down, custom get everything.
No. Right away. Yeah. In fact,
you can't even have a business unless you're ready to do that day one. Fucking people that paralysis through analysis or that like failure of the steps, right? That like
you're talking to 3 guys who jump out the plane and put the parachute together on the way down.
Fuck yeah,
that's
man.
That's the formula.
That's the move. We're gonna look. That's one of the recommendations, like when people talk to me about YouTube shit and like editing, and I'm trying to do a video on a channel and they get caught up, and the next thing you know that like they've been working on their first video for 6 months. Like fucking put something out.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me break it to you. It's gonna suck.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. It's your first video.
Ready, shoot, aim.
It may not suck, right? But it's not going to be as good as your 100th video.
Right.
So get into number 100.
Well, you know what I think is awesome is that we're in a time now too where you get instant feedback. Like you try it and it's like people hated it. Okay, do it a little bit different. Oh, hey, more people started to like that. Maybe I'm onto something. I mean, that's really that's pretty neat that you can do that.
You can refine it as you go.
Right.
Right. I mean, you can, if you are interested in starting a podcast or starting a YouTube channel, you have a device in your pocket that's capable of doing this to get started.
Right.
It'll do it. It's not great. It's not the fucking most perfect thing in the world, but get an audience and build from there. And if you have 100 people that are into what you're doing, make the next move.
I had somebody just ask me the other day, and I get this question a lot, so I addressed it on my Insta story, which was, I get Adam, if I get sponsored by this supplement company, I'm just wondering like, how would you sell on your Instagram, do this? And I'm looking at this kid's page, and he's got like 500 people that are paying attention to him. And I'm like, listen, man, you shouldn't even be thinking about that right now. Like you need to find your tribe. You need to find, you need to find your voice. You need to find your why, and you need to really hone in on that. And then then buyers are buyers. People are going to want to, if you have a tribe and you have a message that people, it's just like you're a perfect example of this.
Right.
I mean, not to say that your brand isn't look cool. It is cool, but it's because it's you.
Yeah, right. No,
because
no,
it represents something. It stands for something, and that other people can identify with, or that people want to identify with. Because like, fuck yeah, I can totally relate to that. And so then I'm willing to give you my money because of that. I remember when we first released our program. This was such a good feeling, and this is when I really felt like I knew we were doing the right thing. Was we had waited for over a year and a half, 150 plus episodes before we first turned on the switch to let's see if we can make a little bit of money. And when people bought everything, the response that we got was, I don't care if these guys shit in a bag and lit it on fire, I would pay for it.
Yep.
And that was because they felt like they owed it to us because we gave so much.
Never asked.
And that's what I feel like that's the lesson for the kids or the people that are coming up or trying to build a business like that is if you provide information and you give like that, the business part actually ends up being really easy. But the hard fucking part is having the work ethic to continue to do that and grind.
To be fucking terrible at it for 2 years.
To be terrible at it, keep grinding away at it, trying to figure it out, trying to find that tribe.
And hopefully 5 years down the road from now, I hope we all look back and laugh at how bad we are at this now.
Yeah.
I'd be bummed if I didn't.
Right, if you didn't evolve.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we do that now. God, we look back. People tell me, some people go back and actually listen to all the previous episodes.
Oh, my old videos are cringeworthy.
Oh, but that was it, though. So we had to figure it out. Like,
of course.
And you know what? Here's what's neat, too. Again, in this world where we can connect to people all over the world, you'd be amazed how many thousands of people out there that are just like you.
Yep.
That are just like you. And you just got to learn how to connect to them and speak your voice. And I think too many people are trying to be other people. They're seeing what others are doing, and then I'm trying to. And I'll be the first to admit. I remember when I first turned my Instagram, I made this mistake. I was looking at these guys, everyone that's on Instagram that has a ton of followers. What are they doing to get attention to start following? And I remember trying to do some of those things, and I'd had all these likes and shit on my page, but nothing would convert to dollars.
Right.
It wasn't until I was speaking my voice and my page really reflected who I was, and it gets less likes and less attention.
Fuck 'em.
But yeah, exactly. But it's who I am, and the people that are paying attention.
Likes don't equal business.
It's not how it works, dude.
No. It's crazy.
But I mean, now it does in the sense that if you have built this tribe and community that's into this thing that is your genuine voice, those likes and those followers do convert.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
What do you think about guys who do the Patreon thing and that whole route?
So we actually, there was a point where someone had mentioned it to us that we actually got a lot of fans that said, you guys should put that out there. We would be willing to give money. And we chose not to.
Yeah. And so the only time I ever had a run-in with that was I was in San Francisco with my wife. We were going to hang out with the Sturettes, and we had run into a store that we knew of that was, downtown, this Muji store, this little Japanese, they sell stationery and other shit I like. Whatever. Ran in there and we'd picked up a few things for the Sturettes, come back out and the rental car window got smashed out. And so my backpack with my camera gear, my laptop, my hard drive, like 8 lenses.
Oh, shit. Damn, a lot of money.
Gone.
Oh.
Right? Like probably what I figured was 10 to 12 grand.
Ouch.
And so I made a video on my cell phone in Kelly's garage the next morning, like talking about it and that my shit's gone. I'll get back to getting stuff, but bear with me while I rebuild, what's going on for me to do this. And had users come on, they're like, no, let's do a GoFundMe and raise money and get him his stuff back and this and that. And I responded I was like, I have a job and a career. Like I don't need you to fund me getting video equipment. While I super appreciate it, any dollar that comes from this, I will donate to someone who actually fucking needs that money.
Right.
I don't.
I think that's how we felt too. I think because we never started this, and with needing the money. I mean, like we said, we all had successful businesses before this one. It was always about the purpose, the why. So even when there was times when we were like monetizing, trying to make money, have employees and stuff now, and people are telling us, oh, if you guys had one of those,
it just feels so shit.
It does. And so for me, I couldn't do it. I can't do it. I feel like it
feels gross, and I don't know what that feeling in me that flag pops up on things for. But I know that if it does, I listen.
And the hard part
you
is
don't
like,
want to do anything you don't feel, man.
I'm sure part of it is my pride and ego that makes me feel that way too, you know, and maybe the chip on my shoulder of like, I got this, you know.
Sure, of course, right?
And I guess there's a part of me too that recognizes that and knows that that's important that I see that, but then also I'm okay with that too. I'm okay with, I think that's part of what drives me. Like I want to be able to handle that. I don't want to have to.
Well, we all did this to start a thing that we don't fucking owe anything to anyone.
Right.
Right. And then that's kind of being back in that, like, oh, I had a stumble. I need mommy to fucking bail me out. You know what I mean? Like,
you know, that's
nah,
a
man.
good point. That's a good point too. Like it's if I got fucked so bad where I didn't have enough money to pay for that, I would just stop it.
Right.
And just go get another
Yeah,
job.
let's find a different plan.
Right. Maybe this wasn't meant for me. Maybe I'm not supposed to be this YouTube star and provide all this free content. My bag got stolen. I can't do this. And I'll figure another way out, you know?
You know, man, the longer I do stuff and now, you know, having some freedom and not being desperate and can make some different moves, one of the rules I try to go by is if it's not fuck yes, it's no.
That's cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
I'm not super excited about it.
nah, man, we just
Not the other way around.
You know, we did some online training and working with people, and you know, had a few hundred clients and stuff like that. And it's not something I'm passionate about. The day-to-day grind of working with clients, that's not my thing. There's money in it, and there's people that are very, very fucking good at it. I'm not that dude. And so essentially my business partner is handling a big portion of it, and then we've hired another coach who's doing it under us and then paying us because I've got more exposure, right? Mm-hmm. And so we finally had a discussion a while back, and it was like, well, how do we double the amount of people we get? And it was like, well, I think I need to be more involved and start making these videos and talking about this and promoting and going to that. And I was like, I'm not into it.
I don't want to do it.
I don't want to do that. No. And so then it was like, all right, well, let's stop doing this. Let's give that coach all these fucking clients. They're his. He's already doing that work, and we'll just not get paid.
You know, we've had a lot of people that have told us, oh, you should do this. Oh, you should do that. Oh, there's a ton of money here. And, you know, one thing that I think what's been great.
We know it. We see it.
It's I think all of us have been, everything we've done, we've been passionate about what we're doing. And I think that when you do start, again, going back to when you start with a purpose or a why versus, you know, trying just to make money, then I think, you know, when these situations come up in front of you, it's a lot easier to turn them down because you're already smart enough to know that, you know, yeah, I can make a ton of money, but then I may get married to that now just because I have to do that and then be miserable
because short-term
because you're old enough to know that money doesn't equal happiness. You know?
Right. I'm not interested that if what I got really popular for was doing a backflip and lighting my hair on fire.
Right.
Because I only get to do that once.
Where's it go up from there?
Dude, you know what's crazy?
Next?
It's funny you say something like that because, you know, I'm really interested to see, like, because it's really early on right now. And there's a lot of people out there that have built a huge following off of like being a trick pony, like every single day.
Yep.
And it's like, man, I would hate to do that.
Flash in the pan.
What's the fucking end game, man?
How do you scale that?
What is the
flash in the pan.
What is
How do you scale it?
What is the end game?
You better hurry up and make your money.
Yeah.
And then figure something else out.
Right. And man, I've just never been interested in the like, how do I boom this today? And then I got to create another viral thing. You know, that's, you know, while like a Bradley Martin, stuff like that, right? Like he's not my cup of tea. Mm-hmm. I also don't believe that 35-year-old dude who has his shit together is Bradley Martin's audience.
Right.
That's not who he's trying to talk to either, which is fucking fine.
Talking to 17-year-old boys and stuff.
Yeah, I'm mature enough and confident enough in myself to say it's just not for me.
Sure.
But clearly it's for someone. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that there's a voice for them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But there is also a fucking skill in what he's done to create viral content consistently.
Right.
Yep.
Like, look, it's not like I'm sitting on a bunch of viral ideas that I'm just saying no to.
Because I would do them too.
You know what I mean? Right? If like, I'll do this hoverboard 400-pound squat. Like, I don't have these ideas that pop up. It's not like I'm fucking sitting here just sitting on this gold mine and be like, nope, not cashing that check.
Yeah, right. I think all of us would do that, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, it depends, right?
Right.
But I mean, if that's your thing, there's a fucking skill to doing it.
No, there is. But then you have now attached yourself to that, and I think that.
Well, that's why he's doing a podcast now too. I think he's realized that.
Well, he's got the audience, and so I mean, if he's got the audience of 2 million or whatever it is that follows Bradley, if 10% jump on board to the other thing he's doing, it's still sweet,
That's not bad.
Right.
right?
Right.
Oh, you get a couple 100,000 people listening to you on a podcast. You're one of the top.
You're doing
fitness
just
podcasts.
fine.
Yeah, you're doing just
You know?
Is there anybody that you see that is that big in the fitness space that you like what they're doing, like that's in the 2 million, 4 million, like huge? Is there anybody that you look at and you go like,
Ooh.
I like the way they model their business. I like what they're doing.
The closest would be Bart and Gio with Barbell Brigade.
Okay.
But a lot of what their big push isn't Barbell Brigade. Their big push is through the comedy stuff that they do, and the Barbell channel is its own thing. They've just taken a lot of their knowledge from that
Right.
and moved it. I mean, we're still talking about a channel of 600,000.
Yeah.
But their other channels, I mean, they have 4 or 5 channels that are all over 1 million subscribers.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's fucking work.
That's crazy, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you said the other day, how many videos a month they're putting out?
Yeah,
Like
they put out 150 pieces of content a month.
5 videos a day.
You know, and I mean, good on you.
That's more
That
than-
is, they work.
That's almost as much as us.
Yeah, they are.
No,
they
that's
are
more than
10
that.
hours.
Oh, wait, my
yeah,
bad.
right.
Yeah, they're 10 hours at the studio 5 days a week.
That's crazy. That's
And
crazy.
it's coming up with ideas. They're trying to film a full length film. They're
Oh shit.
creatives, man, and they
Yeah,
are hustling and
sounds
they
like it.
drop.
I can't
Their
wait to meet
studio is very interesting to
Yeah,
see.
we gotta
being
meet
around hustlers like that,
Dude, it's-
that's
Where are
exciting.
they located?
They're in LA.
Oh, we gotta go.
Yeah,
They're right down the street from Bradley, not far. We've been trying to get
Well, they're
connected.
downtown LA. The gym is its own spot, and then the actual JK Studios are another
we
thing.
gotta go
and
check 'em out.
It's fucking impressive.
That's awesome. I gotta use the
Sweet.
bathroom real bad.
Yeah,
well,
me
let's
too.
wrap.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
wrap it
All
up.
Yeah, yeah.
So thank you guys for coming on, man. It's been really fun. This is episode eight.
Oh, awesome. We're before 10.
Yeah,
The
episode
Ocho.
eight-ish of So podcast. If it's not, I'm going to edit that in some other weird robot voice.
Episode
Proper
Ocho.
name.
I'm sure it will be the last time we do this.
No, we'll definitely do this.
Yeah, you're
man.
welcome anytime, brother. Down
Hell yeah,
here.
man.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, come
Maybe we'll
back,
come
man.
visit you out.
I'll just
on
show up and be a weird fourth mic with another guest.
Just butt in.
Just show up.
Hey, you're wrong, man.
We'll come visit you in the bayou.
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
It's just alligators and snakes. And
Yeah.
essentially
wrangle some
swamp ass.
alligators.
Yeah. Come in October. Like October is the best chance for good weather.
Okay.
Or if you'd like it really hot, come in August and we'll all just die.
yeah. No thanks.
Good shit, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys a bunch.
All right, brother. Thank
Thanks,
you.
dude.
Cheers.